So there I was, a fresh graduate from the Beijing Film Academy. Most people go there dreaming of being the next big action star, but the director looked at my face and told me to play a corrupt official. I ate my noodles and garlic with such a righteous and innocent vibe that the audience actually started a petition claiming I was framed. Talk about a glow up for the villain industry. Then, the director decided I should play a eunuch. I hit them with that classic orchid finger gesture and dropped the most iconic line about climbing to the very top, step by step. Suddenly, every kid working a dead-end corporate job saw me as their spiritual leader. I wasn't just an actor, I was a whole mood. Fast forward to this massive variety show audition, and it's the usual industry trash fire. Some TikTok influencer with zero talent but a very deep-pocketed uncle slides into the heroic cop role that was supposed to be mine. Me? I get stuck playing a literal drug addict. My heart didn't just sink, it hit the floor and started digging for oil. I've never even seen someone go through withdrawals in real life, let alone acted it out. How am I supposed to pull this off? But then a digital voice rings out in my head. Congrats, I've activated the acting becomes reality system. Because apparently my life is now a manhua trope. The system detects my target role and blesses me with the physical state of someone who's been addicted for 10 years. Suddenly, my body feels lighter than my bank account and all my energy evaporates like a free trial subscription. I can't even help it. I let out this massive soul-crushing yawn right there. The judge, who looks like he's having a permanent bad day, snaps at us to get into position. He points at the table and chairs and tells us to pretend it's an interrogation room. I tell him I need a second, then immediately sprint to a corner, crouch down, and start dry heaving like I'm trying to eject my own internal organs. Every single person in that room just froze, staring at me like I'd actually lost my mind. "Wait, what's going on, Xiao Wang?" Zhao Zhilong asks while plopping his butt onto a chair, looking like he just won the lottery and found an extra chicken nugget in his meal. He starts mocking our hero, saying Lin Feng's mental state is so weak that if he were actually on camera, he'd probably vomit all over the lens like a toddler on a tilt-a-whirl. The supervisor, a guy named Meng Shenhe, shoots him a look that says, "Shut it," and tells Zhao Zhilong to get into character and find the vibe. Zhao Zhilong just chirps back a "you got it, boss," looking way too happy for someone with that much unearned confidence. Meanwhile, in the corner, Lin Feng's heart is doing a drum solo. Something is definitely wrong. Even though he's never touched the forbidden white powder, the stuff that makes you talk like a 1920s jazz musician, his limbs are shaking and he's sweating like a guy trying to explain his browser history to his grandma. He wonders if that voice in his head actually turned him into a full-blown junkie. Is this permanent, or is he just stuck in a very gritty method acting loop? Just as he starts to panic, the system, bless its convenient plot armor soul, notifies him that the state switch is complete. Instantly, the cold sweats vanish. He feels as normal as a guy in a manhua can feel, which is to say, he's ready to fight God or a middle manager. He's so relieved he could cry, realizing he can toggle this addict mode like a dark mode setting on a cracked smartphone. Suddenly, Meng Shenhe barks at him, "Lin Feng, if you keep wasting time, you're disqualified. Get moving." Without even looking back, Lin Feng tells him he's ready. With a single thought, he flips the switch back to junkie mode. He stands up, stumbling and swaying like he's trying to walk on a cruise ship during a hurricane, and shambles over to face Zhao Zhilong. Now, it's Zhao Zhilong's turn to play the role of the interrogator. Our boy Zhao Zhilong is trying his absolute hardest to look like a menacing underworld boss with a stare of death and powerful body language. But honestly, since the makeup department clearly had a grudge against him, he doesn't look like a kingpin. He looks like that one sketchy uncle you'd avoid at a family reunion. He's sitting there all composed, but his eyes have the intensity of a lukewarm bowl of soup. Meanwhile, our MC is about to pull a full Daniel Day-Lewis. He's playing a guy in the middle of a massive withdrawal during a police interrogation. As soon as the scene starts, the MC begins vibrating like a smartphone on a marble table. His face turns a sickly shade of pale, and he starts clawing at his arm like he's trying to dig out a GPS tracker. "Officer, you got a smoke? Just one, please," he rasps. Zhao Zhilong just blinks, completely breaking character. He's not even acting suspicious anymore. He's genuinely terrified that the MC might have actually sampled the props before the cameras rolled. Our MC lets out a massive yawn, the kind you usually save for a 3-hour corporate seminar on synergy, and tries to force his eyelids open while his body continues to spasm out of control. "I swear, I don't know who the supplier is. Comrade, just give me some water. Staring at me like that isn't helping anyone. Just let me have one puff, I'm begging you." Suddenly, the MC's eyes go completely bloodshot, and he starts getting visibly manic. Zhao Zhulong's tough guy posture disappears faster than a payak on rent day. He shifts from arrogant to "I need an adult" real quick. He's looking at the MC with pure, unadulterated fear, convinced this guy isn't acting and is about to go full zombie on him. The 3 judges are just sitting there with their jaws on the floor, and even the camera crew has stopped breathing. Every single person in that room has the exact same thought. This guy is way too good at this. Our main man is currently looking like he's having a full-on glitch in the Matrix. My face is contorted into something that would make a sleep paralysis demon retire, and I'm wiping sweat off my forehead like I'm trying to scrub off a bad tattoo. I lock eyes with Zhao Zhilong, giving him a look so feral and unhinged he probably thinks I'm about to bite his nose off. I bark at him that if he wants to pry my mouth open, he better hand over a cigarette, otherwise he's getting exactly 0 info out of me. I keep pushing, leaning into the madness, taunting him to just swing on me. I'm literally begging him to end my subscription to life right then and there. Zhao Zhilong is officially rattled. He scrambles back with the grace of a startled cat, knocking his chair over as his soul practically leaves his body. The 3 examiners are all on their feet now, looking at me like I'm a science experiment that just grew a second head. The vibe in this room has shifted from a standard evaluation to a full-blown psychological thriller. Examiner Meng scurries over to the head honcho, whispering like they're trying to figure out if they should call an ambulance or an agent. Examiner Song is just as lost, staring at me and trying to calculate if I'm the greatest method actor of our generation or if I've genuinely lost my marbles. At this point, I've already burned through 7 of my 10 scripted lines and those last few bits about hitting me. Totally improvised on the fly for that extra spicy flavor. The head examiner is sitting there with a serious case of the goosebumps, thinking that if this is all just an act, then my talent is honestly just way too... Over in the corner, the production crew was busy gossiping like a group of interns at a water cooler, but they didn't even get to the juicy part before, bam! A massive crash echoed through the room. At this point, I had officially entered full-blown withdrawal mode, and I'm not talking about missing my morning latte. I'm talking about a complete table-flipping, throat-growling, psychotic break. Before anyone could blink, I lunged at Zhao Zhirong with the kind of speed usually reserved for people running toward a disappearing bus. The sudden move scared the absolute daylights out of the guy. His face went whiter than a fresh sheet of printer paper as he collapsed onto his backside. Seeing him fall was like hitting the detonator on a pile of C4. I pinned him down, one hand death gripping his throat while the other frantically clawed through his clothes, like I was looking for a lost winning lottery ticket. I was screaming at him to give me a hit, begging for just one sip of the good stuff like a man who's been disconnected from the Wi-Fi for 3 days straight. Finally, Meng Sheng and Guan realized this wasn't just a dramatic improvisation and started losing their minds. They yelled at the others to get over there and pull Lin Feng off him, while the 2 cameramen in the corner stood there shaking like they just accidentally hit reply all on a vent email about their boss. The 2 camera guys finally grow a pair and charge in, dragging Zhao Zhulong away. And let me tell you, the guy left a souvenir, a long glistening trail of urine on the floor. It looks like a DIY slip and slide made of pure liquid cowardice. While they are dealing with the human sprinkler, I am over here looting Zhao Zhulong's pockets like he is a low-level mob in a gacha game. I find a pack of smokes and scurry to the corner like a goblin guarding its hoard. My hands are shaking worse than a cheap smartphone on vibrate, and I drop the lighter about 5 times before finally getting a spark. I take a massive drag, my face a glorious disaster zone of tears, snot, and spit. I am over here whispering to myself that this one puff makes the whole mental breakdown worth it. Meanwhile, the head examiner, Meng Shenhe, is busy spamming the emergency line for the spirit police, while the other proctors stay as far away as possible, probably terrified they will catch whatever crazy I am radiating. I just stay huddled in my corner, puffing away like a noir detective whose life just hit rock bottom. 10 minutes later, the door bursts open and 2 officers in full uniform march in. Meng Shenhe practically trips over himself to point me out. The cops are not taking any chances. One has got a stun baton out, and the other is ready with the pepper spray and handcuffs. They start creeping toward me like I am a boss fight they did not gear up for. Just as they are about to go full law and order on me, I turn around with a look of pure, innocent confusion. I look the officers right in the eyes and ask if somebody finally yelled, "Cut," or if their dramatic entrance is just part of the exam's acting requirements. Suddenly, those 2 officers just stare. The cops looked like they'd rather be stuck in a 5-hour corporate HR meeting about synergy than deal with me. As they dragged me out of the audition room, about 100 people were already holding up their phones, filming the whole thing like they'd just spotted a UFO in a grocery store parking lot. The rumor mill started churning faster than a leaked celebrity tape. The story? Apparently, some contestant was a secret junkie, and when the audition asked him to play one, he went full method and had a total meltdown right there on the carpet. Word on the street was that he scared his competition so bad, they're probably going to need a fresh pair of pants and a very expensive therapist. And who was the lucky victim? None other than a viral influencer named Sen Shi. Yeah, he's one of those forest-style pretty boys whose only talent is looking pensive in front of a fern. I'm guessing his organic skincare routine didn't prepare him for a simulated drug withdrawal in 4K. Social media went absolutely nuclear. Every clickbait post was screaming things like, "Junkie crashes audition," and "Is the entertainment industry just one giant pharmacy?" It was a total mess, but did the show stop? Please. The corporate overlords behind this production have more money than a tech billionaire buying a social media platform just to delete it. Capital is the ultimate plot armor, and the show must go on. By sunset, I was strolling out of the police station like I'd just finished a light brunch. Why? Because my tests, both blood and urine, came back cleaner than a brand new operating system. Every twitch, every dilated pupil, and every drop of sweat, that was all pure, unadulterated talent. The Yanjing District Police had to drop an official statement immediately to keep the internet from rioting, basically telling everyone to touch grass and stop overreacting. Meanwhile, the show's producers, the site managers, and those 3 judges who looked like they'd seen a ghost all received the official paperwork from the precinct. When they realized I wasn't actually a walking pharmacy and was just that good at my job, their jaws hit the floor harder than a dropped iPhone. We're talking god-tier acting skills that could make a statue cry. So the examiner was basically buffering in real time. I mean, what could he even say? He was internally screaming. And let's not forget our favorite little influencer who turned the audition floor into a splash zone. Homeboy literally leaked fluid because my acting was just that realistic. If you're going to wet your pants, at least do it for a better reason than someone just doing their job. Honestly, the kid should have lost his job for that, but his lack of a conscience probably kept him afloat. By 9:30 p.m., the official website for What is an Actor dropped the audition shortlist, and there I was, bold as a pop-up ad you can't close. But the real kicker? They posted an official police statement right next to it to clear my name. The internet collective brain just short-circuited. Everyone was like, wait, Lin Feng acted so well that they actually called the cops on him? Even the most unhinged web novel writers wouldn't have the guts to pull a plot twist like that. Suddenly, the vibe online pulled a total 180-degree turn. The new headline, "Acting so good, it's literally criminal." My performance was being hailed as a god-tier masterclass because I stayed in character so hard I almost got a mugshot. Meanwhile, midnight rolls around and Zhao Zhulong is feeling like a tech bro who just accidentally deleted his company's entire database. He's humiliated. The story of him losing control of his bladder has already spread further than a leaked celebrity password. He wasn't even in the mood to go live, but he figured he needed to do some damage control and reconnect with his fans before they all jumped ship. He fires up the stream, cranks the Forest Boy beauty filters up to 11 until he looks less like a human and more like a filter-to-death Instagram model, and gets ready to talk. But then his jaw hits the floor. The viewer count has already smashed past 50,000, and it's climbing faster than a GPU's temperature during a stress test. Zhao Zhulong's mood did a complete 180 as he struck a pose for the camera. "Yo, what's up, my loyal subjects? It's your boy, Long Long, here to grace your screens with some bedtime talk before I go dream about my own greatness." But mid-flex, the dude's face turns into a Windows blue screen of death. The chat is moving faster than a scalper buying up GPU stock. The fans are absolutely roasting him. "Hey, heard you were playing nice? Lol, did you see Lin Feng? That guy's performance was more explosive than a microwave full of tin foil." "Yo, Xiaobo, you see the winners list? Spoilers, you're not on it. Time to pay up, buddy." The crowd is demanding blood, specifically the handstand punishment he bet on. They're threatening to unfollow faster than a disgraced crypto bro. Even his top donors, the guys who basically pay for his overpriced skincare routine, are ready to jump ship. Zhao Zhulong realizes he's trapped. He grinds his teeth so hard you can hear the enamel screaming, then glares at the lens. "Fine. A bet's a bet. I'm doing it. Catch me doing a handstand while, well, let's just say it's gonna be messy." Next morning, I'm ripped away from a dream by my phone screaming at me. One quick call later, and I'm sitting bolt upright with a grin that would make a shark nervous. The prelims are over, and I officially made the cut. The real showdown starts in a month. I spent the night pulling a total all-nighter until 4 a.m., diving deep into this system I've been gifted. Honestly, this thing is more broken than a cheap controller during a boss fight. It's absolutely cracked. Right now, I'm stuck at level 1, and to get the party started, I need to unlock 30 different character templates. Leveling up to level 2 means I'm finally moving past the basic human simulator stage. Level 1 is strictly for the mundane life. Think underpaid chefs, lawyers who definitely didn't pass the bar, or your average guy next door. But level 2, that's the sweet spot. Ancient martial arts masters or modern-day assassins. And level 3 is where the author really starts smoking the good stuff. If I play a cultivator in a fantasy epic, I get actual magic powers and real-deal skills. It's like method acting, but with fewer Oscars and more reality-warping violence. Of course, there's a massive catch. This system has more restrictions than a corporate Wi-Fi network. I'm hard-locked into the actor class. I can't just direct my own movies or start a viral TikTok to farm XP. I have to go through the grind, variety shows, or being a lowly extra on actual sets. Since filming a whole movie takes longer than waiting for a new season of your favorite show that got canceled after a cliffhanger, I've decided to just become the greatest background extra in history. Around 9:30 a.m., I hop in a cab and head to a hotel near the Beijing Film Academy. This place is basically a lobby for every aspiring star who thinks they're the main character. We're all just loitering under the trees like we're waiting for a server update. If your luck is high, you get a paycheck. If it's low, you're just there for the free bento box that's probably 40% mystery meat. I'd only been standing there for a few minutes when a chunky guy in a blue shirt steps out. He shouts to the crowd, asking if anyone knows how to cook, specifically, someone who can flip a wok like a pro. The best part? He mentions it's a speaking role. The second those words leave his mouth, the entire crowd swarms him like he's the last surviving power bank at a music festival. Fatty is stuck in the middle of a literal mosh pit of extras, all of them screaming for a job like it's a limited drop sneaker release. Most of these clowns are total noobs, but a veteran background actor like me knows how to play the game. You wait for the noise to die down, wait for the fatigue to kick in, and then you strike. I let out a shout that I can actually handle a wok and cook. That gets Fatty's attention real quick. He stops, looks me up and down with a face that screams, "I know this guy from somewhere," and marches over. He asks if I'm Lin Feng, the legend from yesterday's variety show audition who played a drug addict so realistically that someone actually called the cops on me. I just give him a humble nod because, hey, method acting is a lifestyle, not a choice. Fatty loves it. He tells me I'm hired and to follow him. Easy money. We head to a hotel room to meet the assistant director, who gives me the same "have we met in a past life" stare. Fatty whispers the story about the police raid in his ear, and the guy's eyes light up like I'm the next Oscar winner. He tells me I've got potential, but for this gig I'm just a background cook with 2 lines. Do I want it? Obviously. He tells me to gear up for the shoot, reminding me that even though I'm currently trending on social media for getting arrested during an audition, the pay for an extra is still just 150 yuan, about $21 a day. Real fame, fake paycheck, typical. Hearing that, I just gave a smug little smirk and told them no problem. Right then, my system, which usually has the timing of an unskippable YouTube ad, chimed in. It announced that because I'm about to play this specific role, I've been gifted the skills of a senior national treasure chef. We're talking state banquet level mastery, the legit heir to the legendary Manchu Han Imperial Feast. My eyes practically turned into dollar signs. Oh baby, this is way too overpowered for a background role, but I'm definitely going to flex these skills once we get to the set. An hour later, I followed Fatty and director Fu to the filming location. But as soon as I walked in and saw the female lead, I froze. It was Q Dan, the same girl who was struggling through the auditions with me just yesterday. How the heck did she level up to the lead role that fast? I'm not saying there was some casting couch magic involved, but the math definitely isn't mathing. She just finished a scene where she had to squat down and wash dishes, which took way too many takes for someone just scrubbing a plate, and as she started walking out, I was ready to give her a friendly, "Hey, we're audition buddies" nod. Instead, she just gave me a look like I was a pop-up ad she couldn't close fast enough and walked right by. Ouch. Talk about a cold shower. But hey, that's the entertainment industry for you. It's a total corporate ladder where everyone below you is invisible. She's the big star now, and I'm just the temporary warm body they dragged in to play a chef. The power dynamic is pretty clear. Just then, Director Fu walked over to me. "Ling Wang, here is the deal. Before we got here, the female lead, so apparently they brought in some random dude to play the chef." Classic. As soon as I heard that, the light bulb finally flickered on in my head. I was wondering why Q Dan looked like someone just Venmo requested her for a breath of fresh air. Turns out she was trying to sneak her own special delivery into the cast. This kind of industry plant nonsense happens on movie sets more often than software updates on a glitchy phone, so I didn't think much of it. But the assistant director saw my "are you kidding me" face and patted my shoulder like a middle manager, explaining why there's no Christmas bonus this year. He whispered that the director is a total stickler for details. The pretty boy inside didn't know a spatula from a selfie stick, and they'd already blown through a dozen takes without a single usable shot. The director basically wanted to see if I actually had the sauce. No pressure, right? I strolled into the kitchen, already flipping my internal switch to Gordon Ramsay mode minus the televised screaming. I slipped into the costume while the director glued his eyes to the monitor. Even Q Dan was hovering at the door with her little protege in tow. The kid looked at my back and scoffed, asking her what the big deal was. She just told him to shut up and watch, because looking like a real chef isn't something you can just download from a TikTok tutorial. Inside the kitchen, the clapperboard snapped with a loud "action." I fired up the stove and got the wok screaming hot, ready to whip up some egg-fried rice. Now, the director didn't care if the rice actually tasted like a five-star meal. He just wanted to see if I moved like I belonged there. And the second I gripped that ladle and started tossing the wok, the director's eyes lit up like he just found a forgotten Bitcoin in an old digital wallet. On the screen, I wasn't just some extra. I was a culinary god, and my movements were as smooth as a fresh jar of overpriced almond butter. Our main man moves with the kind of flow you only see in those oddly satisfying cleaning videos. He heats the wok, oils it, dumps it, and hits it with fresh cold oil. It is the classic long yao technique, basically the kitchen equivalent of a pro gamer remapping his keys before a match. He grabs an egg and gives it the classic one-handed squeeze, dropping it into the oil like he's done this a million times in another life. He starts scrambling and tossing that wok with a rag in his hand, and honestly, the movement is so smooth it's basically ASMR for the soul. The director is absolutely vibing, nodding his head like he just found the holy grail of casting. This is exactly how a real chef is supposed to look, not like those actors who hold a knife like it's a vibrating PlayStation controller. Even the crowd at the door is trading holy crap looks. Everyone's impressed except for our boy Shu Dan, whose face is looking pretty sour right now. He's probably wondering if the protagonist spent his childhood at a culinary academy instead of acting school, because this level of skill is straight up disrespectful to the rest of the amateurs here. Before you know it, the fried rice is finished. Without even looking back, our hero drops his first line: "Fried rice is ready." It sounds so natural you'd think he's been working at a takeout joint for a decade. He waits 2 minutes, then looks toward the door and tells Xia to get that rice out to the customer. And just like that, the audition is over. The vibe is perfect. Our guy snaps out of his chef trance and politely thanks the assistant director. The director marches over to the kitchen, tells him to get to makeup immediately, but then his eyes drift to the fried rice. Usually these high-level directors pretend they're above being human, but he looks at that bowl like a kid looking at a leaked copy of a new video game. As if he's being possessed by a hungry ghost, he just grabs the bowl and walks off with it. 10 minutes later, the real chaos starts. The clapboard snaps, the lights are blinding, and the cameras are rolling. It's the full production experience, but here's the kicker. Our guy doesn't even show his face. He's just in the background doing the actual heavy lifting with the pans, playing the role of a kitchen Cinderella while the stars get all the glory. So we've got our leading lady, Q Dan, doing the classic humble girl routine, squatting on the ground washing veggies like she's auditioning for a dish soap commercial. Naturally, the camera is obsessed with her, barely giving me a pity frame in the background. Meanwhile, the director is glued to his monitor, but his soul is clearly elsewhere. He's holding a plate in his left hand and a spoon in his right, inhaling egg-fried rice like he hasn't eaten since the dial-up internet era. After 2 long hours, Q-Dan finally finishes her take. Judging by the directors, I've seen better acting in a CAPTCHA test expression she barely passed. In that time, I've whipped up 20 plates of fried rice. Honestly, my arms are more cooked than the food. Talk about a repetitive strain injury from a low-level RPG grind. Lunchtime hits, and the tables are sagging under the weight of my culinary masterpieces. The director gives the green light, and the crew digs in. Suddenly, everyone's looking like they just had a spiritual awakening. Their pores are literally screaming in delight. The rice is fluffy, perfectly seasoned, and each grain is more distinct than a high-res pixel. I've officially conquered the entire set with nothing but carbs. Director Fu sits down next to me and gives me a massive thumbs up, telling me the rice is legendary. I hit him with the classic flex, "You think this is good? I can cook a full Manchu Han imperial feast." The poor guy nearly pulls a triple take and spits his rice everywhere. After lunch, I'm standing outside the catering tent waiting for my paycheck. My glorious cameo is over, and I've got 150 yuan, about $21, in my hand. That's 3 days of food money secured, baby. Suddenly, I hear footsteps behind me. A voice says hello, and I turn around to find Ku Dan standing there. She tells me it's a crazy coincidence and that seeing me as an extra this morning gave her a total heart attack. I just blink at her. Why didn't I see you jumping for joy, big brother? You're just so hilarious. Wow, look at her. At first glance, she's got that innocent schoolgirl aesthetic going on, but if you look closer, her eyes are oozing more grease than a deep fryer at a state fair. Talk about a top-tier disguise. I look away, completely uninterested. You need something? She tells me my audition performance yesterday really gave her a fright. She asks if that was actually me acting, or if I'm just naturally like that. Wow, subtle. She's basically implying I'm a high-functioning junkie. I give her a frown. Honestly, seeing you here gave me a heart attack too. She asks why, and I just shrug. I just didn't think your acting was good enough to be the female lead. I'm starting to doubt how you actually got the part. Kudan's face, which was all sweet and sugary a second ago, instantly turns the color of a moldy avocado. She knows exactly what I'm implying. It's the oldest story in the book, trading personal favors with the director to secure a role. It's not exactly a state secret in this industry. Even big names like Boss Yang have hinted at it. Some actresses just love to play the virgin saint while putting in more overtime in the bedroom than on the set. I don't give a damn about Q-Dan gnashing her teeth at me. At the end of the day, I'm just a background extra, a literal nobody scheduled to disappear after 3 episodes. Screw this drama. I head into a small restaurant to find the assistant director and collect my pay for the day. He hands me the cash and tells me the director actually added a few lines for me in tomorrow's scene. I'm completely stunned. Our protagonist gets hit with a pop quiz. The director asks if he can whip up a Manchuhan imperial feast, specifically the legendary squirrel fish. Our boy plays it cool, basically telling the boss that his premium subscription costs extra. He demands $1,500 a day, which is about $210 for those of you wondering if he can afford a new GPU this month. The director agrees instantly, telling him to clock in at 10:30 a.m. tomorrow. As he's leaving, he spots the director and the leading lady, Q-Dan, having a total office meltdown under some shade. She's losing her mind, screaming that the internet thinks his acting was just a very realistic drug withdrawal and that giving him more scenes is a disaster. The director shouts back, Dan, you don't understand talent. It was so melodramatic and gross that our MC is convinced. If this guy didn't sleep his way into the credits, he'll donate his own head to the local kickball league. Fast forward to the next morning at 11 a.m. We're at a small restaurant set, and the vibe is more chaotic than a group chat trying to decide where to eat for dinner. The clapperboard snaps, and our guy starts working that iron spatula like he's trying to clear a high difficulty level in Overcooked. The main dish is that squirrel fish, crispy on the outside, tender on the inside, and sweet enough to give you a cavity just by looking at it. Even though Q-Dan treats him like a 1-star Uber driver, one bite of that fish and her jaw is on the floor. It's so good she can't stop stealing glances at him. Looking at the director's face, I honestly couldn't tell if he wanted to hire me as an actor or try to book me for his daughter's wedding catering. My performance was so seamless that there wasn't a single trace of acting left. I was so convincing that even the script probably thought I was a professional chef. The director looked at me with a grin that was half impressed and half confused, asking if I'd spent my previous life running a Michelin star kitchen. I had to break it to him. Nope. Since I graduated, I've just been a professional background extra, basically the human equivalent of a low-res tree in a video game. He couldn't believe it, claiming my chef aura was so powerful it was practically glowing. I thanked him for the ego boost, but immediately pivoted to the only thing that actually matters, my daily pay. But then, he hits me with the classic, I'm gonna make you a star pitch. He offered to stay up all night rewriting the entire script just to bump me up to the 5th male lead. He wanted me to quit the extra life for good. Most people would be doing backflips, but I looked at him like he just offered me a lifetime subscription to a fax machine service. I told him straight up, sorry boss, I'm not interested. Just give me the cash. I mean, think about it, in a month, I'm supposed to be hitting the stage for a massive live-streamed variety show. Why would I waste my energy being the fifth-string backup to some trash-tier main character who probably needs 3 stunt doubles just to tie his shoes? No thanks. The director stared at me for a long beat, probably wondering which planet I dropped in from, before turning around and walking off. Meanwhile, I'm just standing there, still waiting for my paycheck like a gamer waiting for a 100 gigabyte day one patch to finish. Director Zheng is actually being a decent human being for once. He tells me it's fine that I turned down the offer because this small-time pond is way too tiny for a big fish like me. He even asks for my contact info so he can hook me up with some A-list roles later. I tell him, chill, Director Zheng, you're being way too polite. I still have one last day of shooting, and unlike a corporate HR department's promises, I actually have some professional integrity. I'm finishing this job, the final day goes smoother than a premium subscription with no ads. My performance as the chef is so flawless that even the director, who usually hunts for mistakes like he's trying to find a reason to deny a tax refund, can't find a single thing to complain about. Since he can't vent his frustrations on me, he turns his sights on Kwai Dan. The poor guy is failing his scenes more often than a cheap Wi-Fi router in a thunderstorm. Every mistake wastes more time, and the director roasts him so badly that Kwai Dan ends up crying at least 8 times. Talk about a hostile work environment, but hey, at least it's not my problem. Once noon hits, I don't even stick around for the soggy lunchboxes. I grab my paycheck and vanish. Working for Zhongbin for 3 days, and thanks to my system-boosted cheats, I netted $5,000, which is about 35,000 yuan. For a guy who used to survive on instant noodles and prayers, this is a massive win. I decide to live it up like a crypto bro who actually sold before the crash. I haul a mountain of expensive seafood back to my tiny rental apartment and go full master chef mode. I spent 3 days straight eating like a king in a room that's basically a walk-in closet. On the 4th morning, my phone starts vibrating. It's Song Guohui, you know, the veteran actor with the serious industry connections. I pick up and say, "Yo, teacher Song, long time no see. What's the occasion for the call?" Song Guohui is a heavy hitter in the Actors Guild, and he doesn't just call to chat about the weather. Out of all the examiners he could have picked, our boy chose the oldest fossil in the room, and surprise, surprise, the old man actually hits him up personally. "Hey, Xiaolin, what have you been up to lately? You mentally prepped for the promotion matches next month, or should I start ordering the flowers for your funeral?" Our MC plays it cooler than a cucumber in a freezer. "Just keeping busy, teacher Song Laosh. Honestly, as long as I don't walk away with too many regrets, I'm good. I'm basically just a newbie background extra anyway." The old man laughs, probably thinking this kid's humility is more fake than a celebrity's no-filter selfie. Good, good. Actually, I'm calling because I need a favor. One of my former students is filming a modern romance drama. He's a rookie director, and his budget is so tight it's practically screaming for help, so he can't find a decent actor for a specific role. Naturally, I thought of you. Our MC is genuinely confused. I'm literally a nobody background filler who usually just stands there and breathes. Why me? Well, it turns out the director needs a special extra to play a stereotypical rich boy villain. We're talking the classic I own the world trope, a guy with family assets worth over 10 billion, which is about $4 billion for those of you who don't want to do the math. The character is supposed to be arrogant, loud, and have the kind of punchable personality that makes you want to delete your social media. As soon as he hears $10 billion net worth, our boy's interest hits the ceiling. A spoiled brat with more money than sense? Yeah, he can definitely work with that. After all, he's basically a pro at playing the jerk everyone loves to hate. If the system actually loved me, it would have just spawned me as a trust fund baby with a gold-plated toilet and a collection of NFTs. My heart starts racing like I'm trying to hit the cancel button on a mistaken Venmo payment, and I realize I've got to sell this. I look at Teacher Song and tell him, look, if you trust me, I've basically got a PhD in being a generic, punchable, rich brat. I've studied the archetype so much I can smell a yacht from 3 miles away. Song looks at me like I'm some kind of natural talent, which is industry speak for I can probably exploit this kid's energy, cry, and says he wants me to get some real-world experience on a professional set. Next thing I know, I'm at the Dongfang Mansion. This is a grade A office building where even the lobby plants look like they have better credit scores than me. The crew has rented out the top 2 floors, roughly 10 meters or 33 feet of vertical office space, just for the shoot. The man in charge is director Zhuang Chengwen. This is his debut film, fueled by a budget of 30 million yuan, that's about $2 million for those of you who don't speak exchange rate. The male lead is Chen Chao. He used to be a massive deal after starring in Xiaotianquan, but the industry eventually traded him in for the newer little fresh meat idols who have more filters than a high-end espresso machine. Now he's just another who's that guy at the grocery store. Then there's the female lead, Liu Rei. She's the campus beauty from the Film Academy and hasn't even graduated yet. Basically, the whole cast was assembled through Song Guohui's elite networking skills. After waiting around for 15 minutes like a guy standing outside a locked bathroom, Song and the director finally walk out together. Song waves me over like I'm a golden retriever, and I put on my best, I'm definitely a professional and not just a guy with a system face. I walk up to the director to give him the classic rookie greeting. Director Zhuang, it's a pleasure. Please, try to go easy on the new guy. Zhuang Chengwen gave me a handshake so limp you'd think he was afraid my poverty was contagious. He basically told me that despite the glowing recommendation from teacher Song Bohui, I still had to prove I wasn't a total scrub in the audition. If I bombed it, I wasn't allowed to hold a grudge. Before I could even promise not to cry about it, a girl named Qian came sprinting out, looking like she'd just survived a Black Friday sale at a tech store, absolutely drenched in sweat. Without even glancing my way, Zhuang waved a hand like he was dismissing a low-level NPC and told her to get me changed for the Liu Wenbo scene. As I followed her into the back, Zhuang turned to Song Bohui and started shaking his head like he was watching a cringy TikTok dance. He complained that I was way too young and lacked any of that signature rich jerk energy, claiming I had more of a living on instant ramen aesthetic. Ouch, tell me how you really feel, man. But Song stood his ground, reminding the director about my audition for Yin Junzi and insisting I had the skills to pay the bills. Zhuang just lowered his voice, acting like the ultimate industry snob, wondering if my talent was actually legit or just some elaborate deepfake. While they were busy gatekeeping my career, I was tossed into the makeup chair where a stylist started touching up my face and getting me into costume. I'm staring at myself in the mirror, and honestly, the fit is a straight-up hate crime. I'm rocking a neon pink suit jacket paired with plaid trousers that look like they were stolen from a depressed Scottish golfer. The script says I'm supposed to be a domineering rich heir, but the reflection looking back at me screams clown who just got fired from a circus. My assistant, Qian, blinks at me like I'm the one who's crazy, asking if I don't like the look. I give her the "are you serious" eyes and ask if I can just style myself, promising to take the heat from the director. She gives me the reluctant nod and I dive back into the dressing room. A few minutes later, I emerge looking like a functional human being. Classic blue suit, crisp white shirt, and a sharp red tie. It's simple, it's clean, it's basically the "I'm here to buy your company and fire your dog" starter pack. Just then, director Zhuang Chengwen and Song Guohui stroll in. The director's face scrunches up like he just smelled a dumpster fire in mid-July. He snaps at Qian, demanding to know why I'm not wearing the outfit designed for the character Liu Wenbo. Before he can make the poor girl cry, I step in and tell him it was my call. I tell him straight to his face. That previous outfit didn't say arrogant billionaire. It said I have a very popular TikTok where I eat laundry detergent. Zhuang Chengwen is speechless. In his head, he's probably thinking, who does this background extra think he is? Roasting my artistic vision. He's dying to chew me out, but since he wants to keep up appearances in front of Song Guohui, he swallows his pride. He motions for me to sit on the sofa so they can walk me through the scene for the screen test. Meanwhile, he sends someone to fetch the female lead so we can see if our on-screen chemistry is a romantic spark or just a complete train wreck. Zhang Chengwen is laying out the script for his latest masterpiece, featuring a character named Liu Wenbo. This Liu Wenbo is your classic trust fund brat worth 10 billion, enough to buy a small country or a single blue checkmark on social media if the prices keep going up. He's the low-tier villain who spends his time harassing the female lead, while she's actually destined for the hero, Chen Chao. Now, get this. Chen Chao is a 40-year-old taxi driver, and the girl is a fresh out-of-the-classroom office worker who meets him by accident. It's the kind of generic, cliché-riddled plot that makes you wonder if the author just used a template from the early 2000s. Zhang Chengwen finishes the pitch with a face as dry as a LinkedIn hustle culture post and asks if there are any questions. Right then, the system pings our protagonist. Since he's about to play this rich heir, the system decides to turn the cheat codes on for real. It congratulates him on becoming an actual billionaire brat. By midnight, his parents are going to wake up to 10 billion in their bank account, which is about 7.8 billion pounds for my tea-drinking viewers. Our guy is absolutely floored. He starts wondering if the money will vanish like a 401k in a recession if he stops playing the part. He decides right then and there. He's staying in character until midnight. No way he's letting that generational wealth slip away. Zhang Chengwen sees him standing there looking like he just saw his private browsing history leaked to his grandmother. Assuming our boy is just overwhelmed by the role, Zhang tells him that if he can't handle it, they can just find him a role as an extra. You know, one of those guys who stands in the background and tries not to look at the camera. He says it's fine. He can just watch and learn, so he doesn't embarrass the teacher who recommended him. That's when our hero finally snaps out of it. His eyes shift from confused puppy to sinister corporate raider in a heartbeat. He looks at Zhang with a smirk that says, "I own your mortgage," and asks, "Who exactly are you calling incapable?" Our boy just flipped the switch into full, arrogant rich heir mode faster than a crypto bro shifts his personality when Bitcoin hits a new peak. Zhang Chengwen's heart does a little parkour move in his chest because the vibe coming off the MC is straight up terrifying. It's like he didn't just study the role, he absorbed the soul of every spoiled brat in history. The director is sold, but he needs to see if our lead can actually play nice with others, so he yells for Liu Rei. A second later, she comes running in, huffing and puffing like she just missed the last bus to Sanityville. Side note, Liu Rei is a total nepo baby. Her grandpa is besties with Song Guohui, which is basically the manhua equivalent of getting a LinkedIn referral from the CEO's golf partner. Song Guohui plays it cool, asking why she's sweating like she just finished a marathon. Then the director tells her to run the scene where she meets Liu Wenbo outside the company building. Liu Rei takes one look at our MC and instantly regrets her life choices. Usually, she's used to guys looking at her with that "I want to take you to dinner" thirst, but our MC, his gaze makes her skin crawl. He isn't looking at her like a person, he's looking at her like she's a disposable NPC in a budget mobile game. It's a level of objectification that would make a HR department's head explode. She's literally shivering, but with Teacher Song watching her like a hawk, she has to suck it up and perform. They clear the floor, and the crowd gathers around the perimeter to watch the chaos unfold, while Zhang Chengwen and Song Guowei settle in behind the monitors to see if this is going to be a cinematic masterpiece or a total train wreck. Liu Rei is just minding his own business, stepping out of the office building when a loud, obnoxious voice hits him like a calendar notification for a meeting that could have been an email. He visibly flinches, instinctively clutching his bag in front of him like a bulletproof vest. He looks at me standing a few feet away and asks, "What are you doing here?" My response is a smooth, "I'm here to pick you up." Now, check out the masterclass in acting here. I'm not doing some over-the-top villain face. I've just got this look of pure, concentrated disdain. But the real chef's kiss moment is the walk. I start heading toward him with my arms out, shoulders bobbing up and down like I'm trying to walk through a doorway sideways, or I've got a serious case of rich kid syndrome. It's the kind of arrogant swagger that screams my dad owns the company and I've never seen a utility bill in my life. Song Guohui actually points at me and tells the other guy, Zhuang Cheng, that this is a textbook performance of pure entitlement. He tells him that while he knows the theory, his actual delivery is about as exciting as a terms and conditions pop-up, which is why he's still a side character in his own life. Zhuang Cheng is busy being salty while I move in and corner Liu Rei. I trap him there, my hand slowly sliding down the side of his hair like I'm browsing a rack of expensive suits. I whisper, "Me? What about me?" with a tone that's colder than your landlord's heart. Liu Rei isn't just uncomfortable, he's feeling a legitimate fight or flight response. Even though the gesture looks gentle, my eyes are doing the heavy lifting. They look predatory, sure, but there's an icy indifference behind them that says I'm not looking at a person, but treating him like he's become a... Lin Feng's eyes are doing a full body scan, starting from her face and moving down her neck to her collar like he's checking for a hidden QR code. He's staring at her chest with the kind of confidence usually reserved for guys who think they can win a fight against a bear. Liu Rei feels a wave of pure shame hitting her, her face heating up faster than a gaming laptop running a AAA title on max settings. Finally, she snaps, shoving him back and screaming, "What is wrong with you? Get away from me." Behind the monitors, Song Guohui is absolutely loving it. His eyes are practically glowing as he points at the screen, telling everyone that Liu Rei, who was acting like a cardboard cutout 5 minutes ago, is finally in character. Why? Because Lin Feng is making her feel genuinely violated, and that subconscious panic is exactly what the scene needed. Method acting, where the line between a great performance and an HR nightmare is basically non-existent. But Zhuang Chengwen isn't buying it. He's frowning like he just saw his ex on a billboard. He leans over and whispers, Teacher Song, are we sure he's not just using the script as an excuse to be a total creep?" Song gives him a look that could melt lead. What kind of nonsense is that? Is that how a professional director talks? Zhuang realizes he's stepped in it and lets out a few of those awkward, fake coughs, the kind you use when your mom catches you looking at something you shouldn't. My bad, he mumbles. Just a random thought. See, Song knows Zhuang Chengwen's deal. The kid is a terrible actor, but he's obsessed with directing. He's got the talent, but he also has the most cliché director's habit in the book, catching feelings for the female lead. In this industry, that's about as much of a secret as a plot twist in a superhero movie. It's a tale as old as time, the director and the leading lady getting creative off camera. Zhuang Chengwen is a typical guy, and it's obvious he's got his sights set on Liu Rei. His protective instincts for her are already starting to go way beyond, forget about the thank yous. Song Guohui isn't exactly this guy's daddy, so the out of sight, out of mind rule is in full effect. The two of them shut up and keep their eyes glued to the surveillance monitors as Lin Feng grabs Liu Rei by the wrist. She starts screaming and struggling like she just saw the monthly bill for a premium dating app subscription, and honestly, the scene is getting a bit spicy. Usually, this is the part where some random good Samaritan with a hero complex would jump in to play the white knight, but then Lin Feng pulls a total fourth wall break. He turns his head, points a finger directly at the spot where Zhuang Chengwen and Song Guohui are hiding, and drops a verbal nuke. He asks them what the hell they think they're filming and tells them to get that phone out of his face before things get ugly. Zhuang Chengwen's face turns a lovely shade of unpaid intern green. But Lin Feng isn't done roasting the help. He pivots to the rest of the staff and tells them to scram with enough malice to make an HR manager quit on the spot. The crew is dead silent. They aren't even offended by the trash talk because his eyes are screaming that if they keep watching, he's going to stop the plot just to catch a battery charge on the production team. It's the kind of peak arrogance that makes you want to report him for toxicity in the game lobby. Behind the monitor, Zhuang Chengwen is ready to blow a fuse. He's convinced Lin Feng is just using the scene as an excuse to insult his entire bloodline. Meanwhile, Liu Rei is actually terrified. Anyone with a brain can see she's genuinely scared of this guy, but Lin Feng doesn't have a cancel button. As she's struggling, he reaches out and clamps his hand directly around her neck, and the two men behind the screen just keep watching. I slam her against the wall, getting way too close for social distancing standards, and hit her with a gaze so ice cold it would freeze a lava lamp. I growl, "What do you think I am? A mascot? A prop?" Poor Liu Rei's eyes go red, and the tears start pouring down like a broken fire hydrant. She's genuinely terrified because at this moment I'm not looking at her like a person. I'm looking at her like she's just a tool for me to vent my frustrations on. She's basically living through the plot of a psychological thriller, convinced I've already ruined her life once. Finally, she breaks down into a full-on sob, but I don't let go. I just keep that twisted, playful smirk on my face like I'm watching a funny cat video. Suddenly, Song Guohui, who was apparently catatonic behind the monitors, snaps out of it and screams "cut" at the top of his lungs. Instantly, I pull my hand back and grab Liu Rui's shoulders to steady her, dropping the act faster than a crypto bro drops his bags. She just blinks at me, totally stunned, before letting out a massive howl of grief. Everyone else is just standing there with their jaws on the floor, absolutely sold on my performance. Whether it's Liu Rei or the random crew members watching the drama, they're all sucked into the vibe. 1 second, I'm this arrogant, untouchable rich brat, pinning her by the neck and acting like the laws of physics and decency don't apply to me, and the next, the moment the director yells "cut," I'm back to normal. It's like watching a shapeshifter, honestly. Over in the corner, her assistants are swarming her with tissues and comfort, while Liu Rei just stares at me like I'm some kind of glitch in the Matrix. Liu Rei finally stopped the waterworks, but he's just sitting there staring at me like I'm a jump scare that won't go away. His brain is basically a bowl of spicy noodles right now. He's so deep in the sauce that he's actually convinced himself I really did him dirty during that scene. Honestly, even he's weirded out by how much he hates my guts right now. Talk about being too good at your job. It's like he's suffering from method acting PTSD. Meanwhile, Zhuang Chengwen is having a complete existential crisis. He's looking at me like I'm a glitch in the Matrix. He can't wrap his head around how a guy who's usually just a background extra, literally random citizen number 5, can suddenly channel the energy of a top-tier billionaire playboy so perfectly. It's totally illogical. He's checked my files. My family background is about as basic as a plain bagel. There's absolutely zero rich hair energy in my DNA. So he's standing there wondering if I've been living a double life or if I just downloaded a How to Be an Obnoxious Rich Guy DLC into my brain. But then there's Song Guohui. This guy is basically my new biggest fanboy. He's so hyped he's literally tripping over his words. He's like, "Shaolin, that was incredible. In all my years of watching people pretend to be someone else for a paycheck, that was the most realistic thing I've ever seen. Absolutely legendary." I just gave him a cool, casual smile and looked over at Liu Rei. I asked if the guy was doing okay, since I'm pretty sure I just shattered his fragile little reality. Song just waved it off like it was nothing, telling me that I basically gave the kid a free masterclass. He said that kind of experience is a precious lesson you can't even get if you paid full tuition at a fancy acting school. After that, Song turned to the skeptic, asking if he was satisfied with the performance. Zhuang Chengwen didn't even hesitate. He was nodding so hard I thought his head might pop off. Yeah, he was definitely satisfied. Director Zhuang Chengwen is currently looking at Shaolin like he just realized the buy one get one free coupon he found in his pocket isn't actually expired. He's completely blown away because this level of acting is way too high tier for a guy who's usually just villager number 3 in the background. He asks if Shaolin is signed to a company, and our boy just shakes his head, saying he's been doing odd jobs and drifting around since graduation like a lost protagonist stuck in a tutorial level. Zhuang Chengwen is starting to feel that corporate itch. He used to have some doubts about Xiaolin, but now he's seeing dollar signs. If a legend like Song Guohui is singing this kid's praises, then he's basically a gold mine in a cheap hoodie. Zhuang takes a deep breath, putting on his best "I'm about to change your life" face, and tells Xiaolin that his performance didn't just meet expectations, it nuked them. He guarantees the company will sign him and promises he'll be the next big thing. Zhuang is practically vibrating with anticipation, looking like a corporate recruiter who just found a genius developer working at a lemonade stand. But Xiaolin, he hits him with the no thanks faster than you'd skip a 30-second unclickable ad. Just like he did to that other director, Zheng Bi, Xiaolin doesn't even blink. He tells Zhuang he's not ready to sign and wants to grind for a few more years to sharpen his skills. Zhuang Chengwen is absolutely stunned. His brain is buffering. He's thinking, dude, you're a background extra, not a superstar with a 5-movie Marvel deal. Who says no to this? Thinking Xiaolin just doesn't understand the scale of the flex, he adds that they're backed by the Yanjing Wanhua Media Group. That's the industry equivalent of saying your dad owns the server you're playing on. But Xiaolin just stays cool, telling him he already knew that because Song Guowei mentioned it. He thanks him for the offer, while Song Guowei stands by, watching the whole scene play out. Song Guohui isn't ready to let go yet and tries one last time to talk some sense into our boy. He's like, listen, Xiaolin, wouldn't you get way more experience if you just stuck with the production crew permanently? But Lin isn't biting. He tells Song Guohui and elder Zhuang Chengwen that being tied to a crew is like being in a long-term relationship with no exit strategy. It kills his freedom. He drops some logic on them, saying, look, what if I'm a one-trick pony who can only play rich playboys? If I can't do anything else, you guys will regret signing me and put me on ice faster than a seasonal latte. I'd rather grind as a background extra for a few years first. It's called character building. Zhuang Chengwen and Song Guohui share a look, probably wondering if they accidentally found the only person in this industry who isn't a total clout chaser. They realize they don't actually know how much range this kid has yet, but seeing a young guy who is this level-headed is a breath of fresh air. Usually, actors in this business are thirstier for fame than a guy in the desert looking for a Gatorade, but Lin is playing it cooler than the clear button on a calculator. Song Guohui is practically vibrating with how much he likes this kid's attitude, and even the stern Zhuang Chengwen is starting to catch feelings. Zhuang Chengwen just smiles and nods, saying, fine, we'll respect your choice, but let's at least be friends for now. If you ever feel like the time is right, give us a call. Lin gives him a respectful thank you, and they move on to the paperwork. Now, usually, the rate for a special extra is anywhere from $600 to $1,200 a day. Zhuang Chengwen is known for being a total penny pincher, the kind of guy who probably counts the individual sheets on a toilet paper roll, but to keep Lin on his good side, he offers him $800 a day right off the bat. It's not a ton of work, maybe 15 to 20 days, but at 20 days, Lin is looking at a cool 16,000. Not a bad haul for a side quest. Once the deal is settled, it's officially time to start his life as a high-tier extra. So I managed to finesse my way into a free lunch with the film crew. There I was, sitting at the very top of the Dongfang building, enjoying a 30 yuan boxed meal. That is about $4 for those of you used to paying 10 times that for a salad. It's not exactly 5-star dining, but free food always tastes like victory. While I'm busy inhaling my rice, my phone starts vibrating like it's having a seizure. It's a call from Mom. Now, usually if the house isn't on fire, Mom doesn't call me during work hours. My heart skips a beat. The system did mention my parents would stumble into some serious cash before midnight, but it didn't give me a countdown clock. Could this be the big moment? I pick up and try to sound casual. Hey Mom, what's the word? Her voice comes through the speaker, but she sounds way too chill. No, we just won the lottery, screaming, or sounds of champagne popping in the background. I blink, a bit confused. Mom, I'm eating with the production crew right now. What's up? She lets out this dramatic, high-pitched gasp. "Oh my God, son, did you actually sign for a featured role? My boy is a featured actor now. You're not just some background extra standing in the rain anymore." I can practically hear her ego inflating through the phone. I give her the "Are you serious" face, even though she can't see me. Honestly, is it really that shocking? I tell her she needs to have a little more faith because her son was always destined to escape the nameless extra number 5 label. I'm basically a superstar in the making, but she tells me to shut it and get real. I sigh and ask her what the actual reason for the call is. Turns out it's not a jackpot win. She tells me that my Lao Ye, that is my grandpa, has suddenly lost his marbles. For no apparent reason, the old man is acting like he's on a mission from God and insists on heading back to our old family village. I'm sitting there wondering what a senile old man wants in a dusty village. Mom says he's been acting all mystical and chosen one today, rambling on about some ancient family heirlooms or old relics that we supposedly still have tucked away back there. Great! We went from a potential lottery win to a national treasure plotline real quick. So apparently there's a secret stash buried in my family's backyard. We're talking Ming Dynasty bling and Republican-era ice, a mountain of jade and jewelry worth a casual 10 billion. I'm talking so much money that when I heard the number, I did a spit take that would have won an Oscar for Best Liquid Projectile. My drink went flying everywhere as I sprinted outside, clutching my phone like it was the last charger on Earth. I yelled into the receiver, "Mom, Grandpa said it himself, 10 billion!" But my mom just sighed the way she does when she's looking at my life choices. She told me, "Look, your grandpa is older than the dirt he wants to dig up. His brain has been stuck in a loading screen for the last 2 years, and he's gone completely senile. He just wanted to see the old house one last time, so your dad and I are humoring him. I'm only telling you this so you don't panic if you come home and find the house empty." I wasn't giving up that easy, though. I asked her, "Mom, are you sure you don't remember any of these old objects he's talking about?" She basically told me that if Grandpa is crazy, then I'm even worse for believing him. She said he just wants a nostalgia trip, and there are no treasures. But then she hit me with the classic momism, "Fine, if there actually is a fortune, I'll save it all so you can finally afford to get a wife." Then she hung up because the old man was already hustling down the stairs. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you get a $10 billion backstory. Shitong, I've got to hand it to you. This is some high-level script writing. You actually managed to gaslight my own family into providing a legal cover for my wealth. My grandpa has been in a mental fog for 2 years, and suddenly he's a walking treasure map. It's brilliant. At least now this money isn't coming from unknown sources, which is great because I'm too pretty for prison. If these really are authentic antiques from the Ming or Qing dynasties, just a dozen of them would put me in the billionaires club. I let out a long breath, feeling like I just dodged a massive audit so our boy just confirmed a major win. He's officially back to his normal, non-terrifying self, but that $10 billion fortune didn't just vanish like a rug-pulled crypto scam. This means his god-tier status wasn't some temporary free trial he forgot to cancel before the credit card got hit. It's a permanent part of his DNA now. He just has to toggle the on switch whenever he feels like breaking the simulation. As he's checking his stats, he hears light footsteps creeping up behind him. He tucks his phone away, no more scrolling for memes for now, and turns to see the leading lady, Lu Ri. She looks incredibly awkward, clutching her own arm like she's trying to hide from a corporate recruiter. He turns around to play nice because, let's be honest, his method acting from earlier probably gave this girl enough trauma to fuel a 3-part Netflix documentary. You can't really blame her, though. Lu Ray is only a sophomore, still carrying that fresh, innocent student energy. She hasn't been corrupted by the industry yet. Unlike those veteran actresses who are basically professional sharks in high heels who can navigate a red carpet better than a GPS. Lu Ray walks up and tries to squeeze out a weak smile. Our guy apologizes, asking if his intense style scared the life out of her. She leans against the windowsill looking totally defeated, and asks if she looked like a total embarrassment out there. He tries to be a nice guy and tells her she was fine, but she calls him out on his bluff. She admits she's only the lead because she's a total nepotism hire. Apparently, her grandpa is besties with Song Lao, and Zhuang Lao is his former student. She knows she's punching way above her weight class and feels like an intern who accidentally got made the CEO on her first day. He stays silent, just looking at Liu Rei, and the truth is, she's a total smoke show, not going to lie. We're talking a perfect oval face, skin so fair it's basically a walking ring light, and makeup so on point it looks like she has a permanent Instagram filter on her life. With those proportions and that vibe, it's no wonder she survived the literal Hunger Games of the Beijing Film Academy to be crowned the school beauty of the class of 2023. In that world, being the top-tier campus belle is basically a legal cheat code for fame. Most of the girls who hold that title end up as A-list celebrities with more brand deals than they have closet space. So, as long as her luck doesn't pull a 180 and crash like a bad crypto investment, Liu Rei is definitely going to be the next big thing. I knew exactly why she came over to corner me for a chat. She was trying to kill that awkward, I have to work with this guy for 20 days tension. Since we were about to be stuck in the professional equivalent of a long-haul flight together, I played along and leaned against the wall for some casual banter. It's the standard industry move, build a little chemistry now so we don't look like total glitches on camera later. By the time we were done, she was actually giving me a real relaxed smile instead of that, help me, I'm stuck in a conversation face. But then the afternoon rolled around and it was time to actually work for our paychecks. We started filming the rich hair arc, and let me tell you, playing a pretentious, arrogant, trust fund brat comes a little too naturally to me. Liu Rei started sliding into character fast, but unfortunately for her, the script was basically a masterclass in psychological horror. I play this obsessed rich kid who can't handle being told no by a fresh college grad, so he starts harassing her. It's the kind of role that makes the audience want to reach through the screen and call the cops. Because I was leaning so hard into the creep factor, poor Liu Rui was getting legitimately terrified. She was crying on cue because her brain was basically telling her, danger, Will Robinson. But here's the kicker, she started doing this weird psychological self-hypnosis thing. The more I played the villain, the more her body started reacting with genuine physiological shame and fear, especially when I was in character as the ultimate nightmare, Zhang Tianyi. By the time we wrapped for the day, she couldn't even look me in the eye. Her poor brain was being torn in half by two completely different versions of me, the sunny, charming Lin Feng and the absolute menace. Talk about a confusing case of Stockholm Syndrome. Our leading lady, Liu Rei, is catching some seriously weird vibes from the villainous Liu Wenbo. She's getting so deep into the scene that she's actually hallucinating about being conquered by this toxic jerk, just so she can catch a glimpse of the real Chen Feng and his sunny smile afterward. The guy apparently has more charms than a maxed out RPG character. Once the day's shoot wraps, Chen Feng heads home feeling smoother than a freshly waxed bowling lane. While the rest of the cast is struggling to find their motivation like they're in a midlife crisis, Chen Feng is just chilling. For him, playing an arrogant, ultra-wealthy brat isn't acting. It's just him reverting to his natural state of being an absolute menace. It's way easier to be a jerk than to pretend you actually care about people's feelings, right? From her perspective, Liu Rei is actually pretty grateful because Chen Feng flips the switch faster than a skip ad button on a clickbait video. He's so convincing that even the director, Zhuang Chengwen, almost called security because he thought the assault scene was becoming a literal crime scene. Back at his tiny rental apartment, which is basically a glorified walk-in closet, Chen Feng is barely out of the shower when his phone starts blowing up. It's Mom. His heart skips a beat. Could it be? Did the $10 billion inheritance finally clear the bank? He picks up, praying the payday finally landed in his lap, and judging by the sound of his mom absolutely losing her marbles on the other end, It's looking good. She's so hyped, she can't even form a coherent sentence, just screaming that the family finally struck it rich. So the family finally hit the jackpot. Chen Feng's grandpa, who usually spends his days wondering what decade it is, actually had a rare moment of clarity. He led the family to the backyard of the old house and dug up a literal treasure pit. We're talking a cellar packed to the brim with ancient relics. Chen Feng's mom is on the phone, sounding like she just won a lifetime supply of premium Botox. She's sobbing, she's laughing. It's the classic, "we were poor 5 minutes ago" breakdown. Chen Feng is taking it all in with a bit of a sigh. His parents have been broke since the dawn of time, so seeing a mountain of antique treasures would naturally send them into a total system glitch. He tells her to breathe, stay calm, and look at the logic. If Grandpa had these treasures the whole time, that means Grandpa was a low-key billionaire all along. And if Grandpa is a billionaire, that makes his mom the pampered daughter of a tycoon. He's like, "Mom, you're basically a socialite now. Relax." She tells him to shut his trap about being a big miss, but she's definitely feeling the vibe. She blows her nose loud enough to trigger a neighbor's car alarm and sighs with the relief of someone who never has to look at a Groupon ever again. She tells him his dad has completely lost his marbles with joy and is currently interrogating Grandpa like he's a witness in a high-stakes court case. There are over 100 pieces down there, and according to Grandpa's math, the haul is worth 10 billion. Yeah, 10 billion. That's buying a professional sports team just to fire the mascot kind of money. Chen Feng just flops back onto his bed like he just heard a boring weather forecast. He's like, "Cool, 10 billion. That's nice." His mom is losing it on the other end. She's convinced his brain has lagged or he's just plain stupid. "Son, are you okay? Did you not hear me? We have 10 billion in the backyard, and you're acting like I told you we have extra soy sauce in the pantry. Are you not even happy?" Chen Feng just rolls over on the mattress, completely unfazed by the fact that his family tree just turned into a money tree. Chen Feng just chuckles like, "Why am I the one celebrating? This loot drop belongs to you guys, not me. Grandpa left it so you could finally stop living like NPCs and actually enjoy life." But of course, in typical Asian parent fashion, his mom fires back with the classic guilt trip. "You little brat, what's ours is yours. We're basically 1 foot in the grave anyway. In 2 years, we'll be fertilizing the garden and you'll inherit the whole kingdom." Chen Feng feels the warm fuzzies, but he's gotta keep it real. "Yo, can we keep it positive for 5 minutes? We finally hit the jackpot, so stop manifest destinying your own funerals. Just remember the golden rule. Keep your wealth on the down low, sell some of the old junk and upgrade the crib. If you're too scared of the tax man, I'll find a guy to help." But Mom is playing the long game. She whispers into the phone, "Your dad and I are on the same page. We're hoarding this stash like a couple of dragons so you can afford a wife." Cue the massive eye roll. Chen Feng is so done with this plotline. Here we go again. "Look, I'm not debating the marriage meta with you right now. You two are officially billionaire ballers. Do something with it. If I come home in a few weeks and you're still reusing tea bags, I'm staging a forced luxury intervention." Mom tries to protest, "But son, the inheritance." But Chen Feng cuts her off faster than a subscription service after the free trial ends. "Mom, I'm hitting the hay. Just remember, don't let the neighbors see the gold bars. Peace out." He chucks his phone onto the bed and shuts his eyes. Seriously, is 26 ancient now? Every time the bank account gets a massive buff, it's the same old script. Save it for the kid. It's like they think a wedding ring costs as much as a private island. Wife, wife, wife. Seriously, what is the rush? Finding a soulmate isn't like picking a starting character in a gacha game. You can't just settle for a 3-star pull. You need that genuine connection, or at least someone who won't mute you on Discord. Plus, our boy Chen Feng is sitting on a net worth of 10 billion. That is enough to buy a small country, or at least a lifetime supply of overpriced organic kale. He knows his parents are probably hoarding every treasure they have, like a pair of geriatric dragons, and they won't sell a single one. He definitely needs to find some time to head back home and force them to upgrade their lifestyle, or at least stop washing and drying paper plates to reuse them. As for those treasures, Chen Feng is not worried. His old man is the legendary king of cheapskates. We are talking about a guy who breaks every penny into 4 pieces before spending it. With his guard it with your life personality, those riches are buried deeper than a deleted search history. Nobody is finding out. Time to catch some shut-eye. Earlier that afternoon, he signed a contract with Zhuang Chengwen. After this 20-day shoot wraps up and he gets a 2-day breather, it is time for that live-streamed show, What is an Actor? Honestly, he is actually hyped. Chen Feng closes his eyes and starts snoring loud enough to alert local seismologists. Over the next 20 days, Chen Feng treats the set like a corporate 9-to-5, punching in and out while melting everyone's brains with his skill. The crew is basically having an existential crisis. Even Song Guo-hui, a veteran who has seen everything from silent films to those terrible CGI reboots, shows up every single day just to watch. Song is low-key losing his mind. He is a mentor-level legend, yet he cannot find a single trace of acting in Chen Feng's performance. Everything, every twitch, every smirk is so natural it feels like the guy has a literal split personality. The second the camera rolls, he transforms into a trashy, arrogant, rich kid, but the moment the director yells cut, and just like that, Chen Feng flips the switch from absolute psychopath back to average guy next door faster than you can cancel a gym membership you never used. It's honestly supernatural. We're talking about acting so good it loops back around to being terrifyingly real. The directors Zhuang Chengwen and Song Guohui are looking at him like he's a winning lottery ticket they found in a pair of old jeans. To them, his performance as the spoiled rich kid villain is perfection. As for everyone else on set, yeah, they're basically in a support group at this point. The male lead, Chen Chuang, has been catching actual hands. We're talking real punches, real kicks. Chen Feng has zero chill when the cameras are rolling. Even though Chen Chuang is getting slapped around like a low-level mobster in a tutorial level, he's a veteran actor, so he just grits his teeth and takes it, because he knows Chen Feng is delivering peak performance. Even the extras are catching strays, getting kicked and cursed at like they're unpaid interns at a failing tech startup. But the real victim here is our leading lady, Liu Rui. She's being mentally dismantled daily. Since the rich kids scenes are all about high-stakes drama and trauma, she has to cry more than a fan watching their favorite show get canceled on a cliffhanger. Before this, she couldn't squeeze out a tear if her life depended on it, but facing off against Chen Feng, her tear ducts are basically a broken fire hydrant. She's developing a serious case of acting-induced whiplash. One half of her brain is paralyzed with fear because of the character Liu Wenbo, while the other half is swooning over how good Chen Feng is at his job. Just like that, 20 days of absolute chaos are over, and Chen Feng officially wraps his scenes. By 8:30 that night, director Zhuang Chengwen is so head over heels for this guy's talent that he drags the whole crew to a restaurant. He wants to talk about the future, because let's be honest, every director wants a piece of a treasure actor like Chen Feng. Zhuang Chengwen is desperate to keep our boy on the payroll, so he pulls out the corporate bribe special, a massive seafood feast and 2 bottles of red wine that probably cost more than my last 3 GPU upgrades. While Song Guohui and Liu Rui play the role of the ultimate hype men, Zhuang Chengwen keeps trying to slide a contract across the table. But Chen Feng, he's swiping left on this career opportunity like it's a dating profile with no bio. Seriously, most background extras would sell their literal souls for a shot like this, but Chen Feng treats it like a terms and conditions pop-up he's too busy to read. Maybe he's just operating on a higher frequency, or maybe the author forgot that people usually like money. Either way, Zhuang Chengwen eventually takes the hint and shuts up. By the time midnight rolls around, Chen Feng is officially wasted. He only went hard on the drinks because of Song Guohui. Turns out, when the industry's favorite grandpa looks at you with those proud eyes and treats you like his own flesh and blood, you don't say no to the booze. As the squad stumbles out of the restaurant looking like a group of college kids after finals, Zhuang Chengwen calls over his assistant Qian Qian to play designated driver. But before Qian Qian can even get the keys out, Lu Rui moves in. Since she's been nursing zero-sugar drinks all night to keep that actress physique, she's the only one with a functioning brain. She aggressively grabs Chen Feng's arm and hoists it over her shoulder like she's claiming the last piece of legendary loot in a raid. Qian Qian and Zhuang Chengwen are just standing there buffering, watching as everyone else. Lu Rui acts as cool as a cucumber, telling everyone not to worry because he lives right around the corner from Chen Feng anyway. He claims he's stone cold sober and will just grab a taxi to drop him off. He doesn't even wait for a thank you or a please don't kidnap our lead actor before he's hauling Chen Feng toward the curb like he's trying to beat a closing sale at a tech outlet. Zhuang Chengwen tries to jump in and stop the madness, but Song Guohui catches his arm like a weary dad, stopping a toddler from running into traffic. He tells Zhuang to just let it go, because once someone is on a mission like this, you aren't stopping them. Zhuang Chengwen's hand just freezes mid-air, and his face starts twitching like he's having a system error. He's been in this industry long enough to know exactly what taking him home actually means. It's the kind of industry standard that usually stays off the official PR reports. He's mostly just salty because he spent all that time and energy cultivating this talent, only for some high-level player to swoop in and steal his legendary loot right before the harvest. About 40 minutes later, Lu Rui is sweating more than a guy trying to cancel a gym membership as he drags Chen Feng into his own apartment. Surprise, surprise, he never had any intention of taking Chen Feng to his actual house. Look, human chemistry is a weird thing. In just 20 days, Lu Rui has been completely won over. It's a classic case of the obsessed fan trope, but with a psychological twist. He's so addicted to Chen Feng's I don't give a damn about the rules and energy that he actually wants to surrender to it. It's that specific kind of mental gymnastics where your brain is so split, you just decide that bringing the guy home is an inevitable plot point that was going to happen sooner or later. And just like that, in a total drunken blur, Chen Feng officially lost his defensive wall that night. Chen Feng wakes up around 10 in the morning, feeling like his brain was used as a literal stress ball. He realizes he's not at home, and he's definitely not in a hotel. As he rubs his temples and waits for his memory to finish buffering, the events of last night start coming back in high definition. He's stunned. Lu Rui actually took the initiative. Our boy thinks to himself, "Holy crap, I've been played!" He does a quick equipment check under the covers and sees a few blooming peach blossoms on the sheets, which, for anyone who hasn't read enough of these stories, is the classic artistic way of saying they definitely did the deed. So, who really got played here? He looks around and realizes Lu Rui is already gone, but she left a note on the nightstand. It's basically a post-game summary. It says, "You're awake, take a shower, don't worry about the mess on the bed, I'll handle it when I get back. There's breakfast in the kitchen. Also, I was the one who made the move, so don't feel pressured." She even added a little drawing of herself blushing with a red heart. Chen Feng can't help but laugh. We're all adults here, and in the Shark Tank of the entertainment industry, a night of unexpected cardio without a deep emotional bond is just a standard Tuesday. He's honestly just surprised she had it in her. She didn't exactly scream aggressive during the day. He gets out of bed, looks back at those marks on the sheets one last time, and feels a bit strange. Lu Rui has some serious guts, so our boy wakes up and realizes Lu Rui actually brought him back to her place. He takes a look around, and wow, the bedroom is aggressively pink. We're talking a Hello Kitty on a sugar-high level of aesthetic. Chen Feng wanders out to the main area and realizes the place is actually pretty spacious. Looks like Lu Rui's family has that early retirement kind of money. He hits the kitchen and finds a breakfast spread waiting for him. Congee, fried dough sticks, eggs, and some pickles. It's surprisingly down to earth, like something your grandma would make if she lived in a downtown condo. Chen Feng's stomach starts growling like a hungry grizzly, so he dives in and clears the plate faster than a tech bro at a free buffet. After the meal, he heads to the bathroom for a quick shower, only to find her small delicates and laundry hanging right there in the open. Seriously, Liu Rei has zero chill. She's either incredibly trusting or she's officially categorized him as the guy friend who is basically a piece of furniture. An hour later, Chen Feng packs it up and heads out. He's not catching feelings today. Sure, she's a total smoke show, but their chemistry is flatter than a soda left out in the sun. It's time to focus on the real grind, the system. He's got 1 week until What is an Actor starts filming. This isn't just some local talent show, it's a 3-month live-streamed marathon, really 90 days of pure chaos. It goes from the qualifiers all the way to the national finals. If he can survive the cut and pick a unique role for every single performance, he'll be able to power level his system to level 2 before the season finale. With the plan set, he spends the next 7 days taking it easy. The week flies by, and before he knows it, the production crew for What is an Actor is already getting things moving at the start of the program. After double-checking his schedule more times than a corporate intern on their first day, our boy Chen Feng is officially cleared for takeoff. 2 days later, he wakes up feeling himself, the sky is clear and the vibes are high, so he tosses on the classic, I'm a main character but trying to look humble starter pack. A crisp white shirt, some jeans, and sneakers. It's a clean look that says he definitely didn't spend 3 hours on his hair. He heads over to the Yanjing Grand Theater, and man, the budget here is higher than the chances of a secondary character surviving a training arc. The place is decked out like a billionaire's wedding. As soon as he steps in, the staff herds him into a private room, and of course the paparazzi life begins. He gets assigned a personal cameraman, a dude in his 30s with a beard that says, I've seen too many reality TV breakdowns to care about your feelings. They mic him up, strap on the earpiece, and point him toward a glass counter. There sits the forbidden envelope of doom. This isn't a bill from his internet provider, it's his ticket to the next round of the qualifiers. It's a one-on-one PK match, a simple one stays, one goes scenario. Chen Feng is hyped, probably thinking he's about to draw some low-level mob he can steamroll, but as soon as he rips that thing open, his face freezes faster than a legacy PC trying to run a 4K render. The name on the card? Ku Dan. Talk about your classic, the universe hates you scenario. This is some serious small world energy right here. Chen Feng doesn't know whether to laugh or start looking for the hidden cameras. Oh wait, they're already on him. It's his biggest rival. This isn't just some random duel. It's a mixed-gender battle royale where gender doesn't grant you any mercy. We're starting with 108 actors, all tossed into a blender for random matchmaking. It's a straight-up elimination massacre, meaning out of these 108 hopefuls, only 54 are going to make it out with their dreams still breathing. Out of all the contestants he could have been paired with, fate decided to stick Chen Feng with Fu Dan. Honestly, the odds of this are lower than actually winning a giveaway from a billionaire's Twitter feed. Chen Feng isn't even worried about being eliminated, he just feels bad for the girl at this point. He flips over his name card to check the prompt and immediately hits a wall of pure cringe. The title of the play is Don't Just Talk to Men. His role? A domestic abuser with the psychopath tag. The female role is a victim who finally snaps in a moment of modern womanhood despair. Seriously? We're only in the first round of the qualifiers, and the writers are already turning the edgelord dial up to 11. Chen Feng wonders if he's just the universe's favorite punching bag, or if some producer in the back is rigging the deck to make him play the villain. Fine, whatever, he can do psychopath. It's not like these shows actually allow real physical contact anyway. It's all about the camera angles and stage fighting, much like how corporate offices fight for diversity while everyone still looks the same. He figures he'll just be shadowboxing the air. Chen Feng drops the card and follows the staff out of the room. A few minutes later, Ku Dan enters, escorted by that same thirsty-looking assistant director. She picks up the opponent's card and lets out a sharp gasp, covering her mouth like she just saw a low battery notification at 1%. How is it him again? Back in the auditions, she almost had to act opposite him and knew that if she had, her career would have ended right then and there. She didn't think for a second that the qualifiers would pair them up again like a recurring nightmare you can't wake up from. Talk about having the worst luck ever. Kuo Dan was feeling totally out of her depth, mostly because Lin Feng was radiating enough "I'm going to crush you" energy to power a small city. With her heart doing its best impression of a jackhammer, she flipped over her role assignment card to check the requirements for the knockout round. Her face dropped faster than a crypto coin in a bear market. I mean, come on. The guy gets to play a psycho, abusive husband while she's stuck playing the timid, mistreated little wife. Who wrote this script? A 1950s sitcom writer on a bad trip. Dan stamped her foot in frustration, but what could she do? This is just the first round of the qualifiers, and the road to stardom is longer than the line at a DMV on a Monday morning. If she wants to actually make a name for herself on this "what is an actor" stage, she's got to cut through the competition like she's in a battle royale. And Lin Feng, he's the first boss she has to take down. Kuo Dan dropped the card and hurried out, her mind racing faster than a browser with 50 tabs open. Out in the lobby, a low-budget director named Ma Jun was chilling in the lounge with his assistant. As soon as he saw Kuo Dan, he gave her the "over here" wave. Now, Ma Jun had scouted her specifically because she wasn't some classically trained actress with a fancy degree. No, her main talent was looking innocent and natural. Basically, she had that clueless protagonist aesthetic that's total clickbait for the industry. Ma Jun had already pulled the classic casting couch move, using sweet talk and empty promises to turn her into his personal project. He's been busy trying to polish her up and package her for the big leagues. Currently, Kuo Dan is actually making some progress as the lead in his budget bin urban movie. Sure, she's tripping over her lines and hitting more NGs than a glitchy video game, but she's slowly getting the hang of it. Her acting skills might be maturing at the speed of a dial-up connection, but let's talk about Kuo Dan. Publicly, she's marketed as this innocent, fresh-faced starlet, but behind closed doors, she's got more seasoning than a cast-iron skillet and enough game to make a professional athlete retire. Ma Jun is absolutely obsessed, like a middle manager who just discovered a glitch for unlimited PTO. They're currently in that nauseatingly passionate stage of a relationship, which is why Ma Jun is actually taking time out of his busy schedule to play stage mom at this variety show. His master plan is simple: use his professional expertise to coach her straight into the national finals. If she kills it on screen and grabs everyone's attention, the ratings for his upcoming TV drama will moon harder than a joke cryptocurrency. It's a solid corporate strategy, but the math starts failing when he sees Kuo Dan stomping toward him looking like someone just told her the Wi-Fi is down indefinitely. Ma Jun tries to play it cool, asking if the competition prompt was too hard, but Kuo Dan just pouts, grabs his sleeve like a dramatic Victorian orphan, and drags him down onto the sofa. She leans in and whispers the nightmare. Her opponent is Lin Feng. Ma Jun nearly jumps out of his skin. Wait, who? Lin Feng? You mean the guy who was literally playing a background cook in our film crew 2 weeks ago? He's staring at her like she just told him the earth is actually shaped like a taco. Meeting that guy again in the advancement round is a level of bad luck usually reserved for people who forget to mute their mics on a Zoom call. Kuo Dan is absolutely fuming, stomping her feet and huffing that just the thought of him makes her. If he's already throwing a temper tantrum, how are we supposed to make the scene work? And do you even know what our assigned topic is? Kuo Dan is fuming, and Ma Jun quickly leans in, asking, well, don't leave me hanging, what is it? Dan sighs, like she's just been told her favorite show was canceled. It's that infamous segment where the husband loses it because his wife talked to another man. He gets to play the unhinged, psychopathic domestic nightmare, and I'm stuck playing the terrified wife. I mean, seriously, Who comes up with these trash prompts? Ma-jun freezes for a second, totally stunned. He actually knows this show. It's one of those classic urban dramas meant to be a PSA against domestic violence, and it's basically the stuff of nightmares. The male lead in that show is the ultimate two-faced character. In public, he's the perfect gentleman, polite, kind, and holding down a respectable job like he's trying to win a Son-in-Law of the Year award. But the moment the door shuts, he turns into a violent glitch in the human race. The original actor was so convincing that people probably wanted to throw rocks at him in real life for a decade. Technically speaking, using a clip from this show for a knockout round is a double-edged sword. On one hand, the conflict is dialed up to 11, which is basically catnip for a live streaming audience. It's the kind of high-stakes drama that makes people stop scrolling and start typing OMG in the chat, especially for the female viewers who will definitely feel the tension. It's great for Q Dan's chances of moving up the ranks. But here's the massive, but it requires some actual top-tier acting. And let's be honest, Xiu Dan's acting skills right now are about as refined as a toddler with a crayon. Ma-jun goes quiet for a minute, and Xiu Dan just sits there watching him like she's waiting for a slow computer to finish an update. She knows he's brainstorming a way out of this mess. Suddenly, Ma-jun cracks a smirk. You don't get to be a director by just having a fancy title and a clipboard. This guy has more schemes in his head than a corporate lawyer trying to hide a tax leak. Ma-jun still thinks he's some kind of tactical mastermind, pulling Q Dan aside and whispering like they're planning a heist on a Girl Scout cookie shipment. He tells her to stay frosty while he breaks down his genius strategy. First, he claims the script is top tier because it's packed with the kind of spicy conflict that hits home with the female audience. It's basically your standard soap opera drama, but with the volume turned up to 11. Second, he keeps it 100 and admits Q Dan's acting is basically a dumpster fire. No offense, babe, but he's betting Chen Feng can't pull off playing a psycho abuser. He's convinced Chen Feng's earlier chef performance was only good because he probably flipped burgers in a past life, regardless of what his resume says. He even speculates that Chen Feng might have sampled some illegal substances to nail those roles, but playing a true creep requires actual range. Then comes the big brain move, point number 3, which is the secret sauce to the whole plan. Ma-jun tells her that if there's a scene where things get physical or there's some domestic violence, she needs to make him actually hit her. Yeah, forget the stunt doubles and the Hollywood magic. We're going for full-on method acting with a side of actual trauma. Q Dan is vibrating with pure what-the-hell energy, asking if he's serious about her getting slapped for the plot. But Ma-jun just stays calm, like he's explaining how to set up a new Wi-Fi router, and starts laying out exactly why catching those hands is a winning move. Firstly, see, if you choose to take a real hit, the judges will think you're some kind of martyr for the arts. That's a massive social credit boost right there. Plus, by insisting on a real smackdown, you're basically putting Chen Feng in a lose-lose situation. If she actually clocks you, the audience is going to think she's a monster and start a GoFundMe for your medical bills. But if she pulls her punches, the scene falls flatter than a crypto coin after a rug pull. The audience will think she's a terrible actress, and you still walk away looking like the hero. And let's not forget the most important part. You're a girl playing a victim. Your natural instinct should be pure, unadulterated terror. Get it? Q Dan's eyes were practically glowing with the realization that being a manipulative snake is actually a viable career path. She told the director she finally found her breakthrough, and Ma-jun, being the total professional he is, decided to reward her with a little pat on the thigh. He told her she was lucky the first round of the competition was perfectly arranged to ensure her victory. He basically promised that Chen Feng was getting the boot. Q Dan didn't just nod. She decided to give Ma-jun a little massage on his hand while it was still parked on her leg. Talk about multitasking. Ma-jun was feeling the heat, but unfortunately for his hormones, the live broadcast was about to start, and Q Dan had to scurry off to the rehearsal room before things got rated R. So every pair of rivals gets exactly 1 day to rehearse. The production crew isn't just doing a live stream for the raw, unfiltered vibe, they want peak entertainment value for the ratings. Sure, a little backstage drama is great for the algorithm, but they really want everyone to look like a pro so the show doesn't tank. That means the contestants actually have to put in the work. If you've got a script thicker than a dictionary, you'd better start memorizing, because half a day disappears faster than a free trial you forgot to cancel. Ma Jun and Q Dan spend the afternoon hashing out their plan until a staffer shows up to drag them to the rehearsal space. Q Dan gives him the reluctant goodbye, look like they're in a tragic romance, but Ma Jun is still in manager mode. He gives her one last piece of advice: stay in character. He tells her that if there's a coach in there, she needs to play the humble rookie card perfectly. And the most important part? She has to insist on real combat. No fake hitting like a low-budget action movie. She shoots him a wink that's definitely doing too much and heads out. The rehearsal room is basically a glorified broom closet because the Yanjing Grand Theater is currently more packed than a midnight GPU launch. We're talking over 50 pairs of contestants squeezed into every available corner. Outside, it's even more of a circus. It's a literal sea of people, mostly families who've been camping out since sunrise to cheer on their kids. It's like a high-stakes middle school talent show, but with actual production value. This is living proof that What is an Actor is the biggest hit since the invention of the skip ad button. Inside the cramped room, Q Dan finally comes face to face with Chen Feng and Enjing. Q Dan is sitting in the rehearsal room feeling about as comfortable as a vegan at a steakhouse. She's got her public persona to maintain, which is basically the friendly neighborhood girl trope that's required by law for these shows. She forces a smile that looks about as genuine as a congratulations, you won a free iPhone pop-up and waves. Oh hey, what a total coincidence that the scriptwriters put us in the same room again. Chen Feng, our guy who clearly hasn't unlocked the small talk skill tree yet, just gives her a lukewarm nod. Yeah, small world, he says, and then nothing. Total silence. If there were a leaderboard for the most awkward silence, these two would be in the top 3 globally. 2 full minutes go by, and the only things moving are the 2 cameramen filming their every blink for the behind-the-scenes fluff that will be edited into some high-stakes drama later. Finally, the door swings open, and in walks the rehearsal coach, Liu Tianqi. She's holding scripts like she's about to hand out eviction notices. Now, Liu Tianqi is a big deal. She's a graduate from the Central Academy of Drama and has coached more A-list celebrities than a Hollywood talent agent. Chen Feng is actually shook because he knows her stats. Usually, she's the final boss reserved for the national championships, but here she is at the regional qualifiers. It's like a world-class chef showing up to judge a lemonade stand competition. Chen Feng jumps up like his seat was on fire, giving her the full respect your elders treatment. Hello, Teacher Liu. On the other side, Ku Dan is totally lost. She's basically an industry outsider who probably thinks a kabak is just something you do when you miss a phone call. But she's got just enough survival instincts to realize that if Chen Feng is acting this humble, this lady must be a level 99 wizard. She quickly stands up and follows suit, chirping out a "Hello, teacher." Liu Tianqi doesn't do the whole warm and fuzzy greeting thing. She just rushes over and drops 2 scripts in front of them like she's delivering a subpoena. Here are the scripts for your promotion round. Take 30 minutes. That is about half an hour for those of you who failed basic math to look them over. I will be back then. If you have questions, keep them until I return. The teacher drops the papers and vanishes, leaving the room quieter than a group chat after someone asks for help moving furniture. Chen Feng just parks it in a chair and starts reading like a guy who actually knows how to read. Ku Dan follows him over, unable to keep his mouth shut. Hey, what was that teacher's name again? Liu, Chen Feng replies, not even bothering to look up. Like the willow tree. You know, the thing that actually has a backbone? Kuo Dan tries to play it cool, testing the waters like he's checking the temperature of a public pool. "You two know each other?" Chen Feng finally looks up with a smirk that says, "I know what you did last summer." "Relax, we are not besties." "Why? Are you worried I am using a backdoor to get ahead?" "Trust me, my networking skills aren't that intimate." Ku Dan gives him the awkward laugh of a middle manager caught stealing office supplies. As soon as Chen Feng looks away, Ku Dan pulls a face and whips out his phone like a teenager at a concert. He shoots a quick text to Ma Jun. "Director, the mentor here is some guy named Liu. Can you do a background check for me? Is he a big deal or just some glorified extra?" After hitting send, he skims the script and jackpot. There are barely any lines. Ku Dan is thrilled because his memorization skills are about as reliable as a printer when you are in a rush. But then he realizes what the scene actually is. It is a violent sequence. Looks like Ma Jun was right. The producers are thirsty for ratings, so they picked the most gut-wrenching domestic abuse scene in the show. Typical reality TV logic. If the audience isn't calling HR, the show is a flop, Ku Dan sighs. Fine, this plays right into his hands. He decides to follow Ma Jun's advice and go for a real hit during the performance. He figures he will let Chen Feng take a few lumps for the sake of art. Just as he is planning his fake real beatdown, his phone buzzes. Ma Jun's reply pops up, and Ku Dan's confidence hits a new high. The message mentions the Yanjing 3, meet Liu Tianqi. In this circle, he's the big shot instructor who basically holds the get-out-of-jail-free card for the qualifiers. Since he's the one with all the voting power, Ma Jun's advice was simple. Turn on the charm, sweeter than a double-shot caramel latte, and suck up to him until he gives you some personal pointers. Ku Dan is finally starting to relax, but meanwhile, Chen Feng is just sitting there minding his business when his brain decides to pull a ding. The system notification rings out, and surprise! It turns out our boy's next target role is a literal psychopath. Congratulations, Chen Feng, you are now officially a professional red flag, specifically a domestic abuser. Honestly, the system is really leaning into that villain-era vibe. Half an hour later, Liu Tianqi strolls back into the room. Chen Feng barely has time to stand up before Ku Dan launches herself at the man like a heat-seeking missile of pure cringe. She hits him with that high-pitched, pick-me voice that sounds like a dolphin trying to speak human. "Teacher Liu Tianqi," she squeals. Liu looks genuinely startled for a second, like he just walked into a spiderweb, but he handles it like a pro. He completely ignores her attempt at being cute and cuts straight to the chase. "Have you both looked at the script? Any questions?" Ku Dan doesn't miss a beat, immediately playing the damsel in distress card. She tells him she needs some serious guidance because she has no idea how to handle a character being treated like a human punching bag. Liu Tianqi doesn't hesitate and waves Chen Feng over too. He tells them both to gather round so he can give them the deep dive backstory. He doesn't care if they've actually seen the original show or not. He's about to explain the toxic mess and the complicated drama between these characters. According to him, if they want to nail this performance, they need to understand every single detail of this absolute train wreck of a relationship. Time to address the elephant in the room, and by elephant I mean the absolute train wreck of a relationship between these two. Liu Tianqi takes a seat while Chen Feng and Ku Dan stand opposite her like they're waiting for an HR meeting to go south. For the next 10 minutes, she breaks down the character dynamics with the kind of speedrun efficiency usually reserved for skipping a game tutorial. She looks at them and says this specific scene is packed with more tension than a family dinner where someone brought up politics. She tells them that if they just merge with their characters, they'll practically print money. Turning her focus to Chen Feng, she explains that he's the real star of this disaster. His job is to carry the heavy emotional baggage. She tells him he needs to crawl inside the head of a total scumbag, specifically a domestic abuser. She tells him his rage has to come directly from his partner. Every time he looks at her, he needs to be convinced she's sliding into the DMs of every guy she knows. He has to think like a complete psychopath. Now, looking at Chen Feng right now, you'd think he's the guy who always returns his library books on time. He's got this refined, polite vibe, and a smile so bright it could probably be used as a lighthouse. He nods and says he totally understands. But the second Liu Tianqi sees that smile, her survival instincts start screaming. Why does this guy's grin look exactly like An Jia, that legendary TV creep who gave an entire generation of viewers nightmares? It's the kind of look that makes you want to double-check the locks on your front door. Chen Feng turns his head to look at Q Dan, and that polite, gentlemanly expression vanishes faster than a paycheck on rent day. In its place, look at this guy's eyes. It is the kind of blank, soul-piercing stare you usually only see in people waiting for their printer to stop jamming or a mid-tier anime villain about to explain his tragic backstory. Liu Tianqi is legitimately spooked. She is trying to find the right word for it, and the only thing her brain can muster is absolute creep. It is the kind of look that makes you want to double-check if your kidneys are still where you left them. And get this, the rehearsal hasn't even started yet. There hasn't been a ready, set, action, or even a lukewarm coffee break. Did this man just telepathically download his entire character's trauma, or is he actually just a serial killer who wandered onto the wrong set? Liu Tianqi is totally lost, so she stands up and waves over Ku Dan. "Hey, come here for a second," she says. "Let us have a little private coaching session." Cue the sparkly anime background for Q Dan. She is practically vibrating with joy, thinking her mean girl act and sweet-talking actually worked. She thinks Liu Tianqi is playing favorites because they are both women. Honey please, this isn't a Hallmark movie. It is a workplace drama with higher stakes than a Twitter ratio. Ku Dan follows her to a quiet corner, her ego inflating faster than a tech bubble. Once they are standing in the shadows, Liu Tianqi looks her dead in the eye and asks the real question. "I need to know something. Do you actually know this Chen Feng guy?" Ku Dan freezes. She thinks the cat is out of the bag about him being a lowly extra on her last set. No point lying now, right? She nods and says, "Yeah, Coach Liu, we met on director Ma Jun's set for a modern drama. I was the leading lady, obviously, and Chen Feng was there for about 3 days doing whatever it is background extras do." Liu Tianqi leans in, looking like she is trying to solve a Sudoku puzzle written in blood. "Tell me the truth," she whispers. "Did you two have some beef? Did you have a major conflict? And do not give me the PR-friendly version. I want the unfiltered truth." Apparently, the secret to great acting isn't a degree from Juilliard. It's just finding a way to make your co-stars genuinely hate your guts. Ku Dan stands there looking more confused than a boomer trying to fix a router, wondering how the mentor knew about their history. But hey, she figures there's no point in hiding the receipts. She spills the tea, explaining how she and Chen Feng were almost rivals during the initial auditions, but the production crew, presumably to save a few bucks, brought Chen Feng back as a lowly background extra to play a chef. Talk about a career trajectory that's basically a flat line. After dropping the facts, she whispers that she actually had some doubts about his audition when he was playing a junkie. She looks at Liu Tianqi like, "You get me, right?" She assumes Chen Feng felt personally attacked by her critique and decided to cuss her out on set. She claims she just brushed it off like a spam email, but we all know that kind of salt doesn't just wash away. Liu Tianqi realizes the beef is grade A prime rib. Chen Feng's intense gaze wasn't just acting. It was 30% talent and 70%, "I hope your phone charger only works at a specific angle." The mentor thinks this kid is a genius for using real-world spite to fuel his performance. It's like using your toxic ex's social media posts as pre-workout fuel. Very efficient. After Liu Tianqi gives Q Dan a quick tutorial on how to react when your TV husband goes full psycho, they head back over to Chen Feng. Liu Tianqi flashes a smile and asks the big question, do they want to spend an eternity memorizing the script, or are they just going to wing it? Chen Feng just gives a whatever shrug, keeping that fake customer service smile plastered on his face. It's the kind of expression that's more unsettling than getting a "we need to talk" text from your boss on a Sunday night. It genuinely sends a shiver down everyone's spine. Q Dan tries to play it cool, offering a big, generous smile back to Liu Tianqi. "Teacher, you can just start the rehearsal. I've already memorized my lines." Kuo Dan says this with the confidence of a guy who thinks he's winning an Oscar, but Liu Tianqi is just standing there thinking, "Buddy, you have 10 lines. My cat could memorize that." The whole performance is supposed to be about body language and raw emotion anyway, not a Shakespearean monologue. Since both of them are down to clown, Liu Tianqi decides to get the show on the road. She's on a tight schedule, probably has a legendary raid starting soon, so she wants to see their progress and give some quick pointers before she bounces. She stands up, claps her hands, and tells them to get into character. Then she looks at Chen Feng and says, "And Chen Feng, keep your strike zone under control. All right, we're going for drama, not a trip to the ER." But suddenly, Ku Dan interrupts with the kind of heroic intensity you usually only see in a mid-season anime finale. "No, that's not necessary." Liu Tianqi is stunned. "What did you say?" Ku Dan looks her right in the eye, looking like he's ready to die for a Best Supporting Actor nomination. "Teacher, Chen Feng doesn't need to hold back. I want him to actually hit me. Do whatever it takes. Just, try not to turn my face into a topographical map of the moon. A little bruising is fine." He keeps going, rambling about sacrificing for art and claiming he doesn't even care about winning the competition as long as the scene is authentic. It's the kind of cringe-worthy, "look at how deep I am" speech that makes you want to check if he's secretly recording a TikTok for clout. Liu Tianqi is dying to know who coached him to say this absolute garbage. But then she looks over at Chen Feng, and the man has a smirk on his face that suggests he's more than happy to help Kuo Dan suffer for his craft. Inside the rehearsal room, Chen Feng is sporting a smile that screams, "I definitely have a secret basement." Director Liu Tianqi shouts for the rehearsal to start, and we are officially in the thick of it. Scene 1. The two actors start a shouting match that escalates faster than a Twitter argument. They start grabbing and shoving. Chen Feng is roaring like he just saw the price of gas, and Kuo Dan is shrieking. But Liu Tianqi kills the momentum with a loud "stop" and pulls them apart. He glares at Kuo Dan, basically telling her that her performance has the emotional depth of a cardboard box. There's no fear and zero pain on her face. Kuo Dan looks at Chen Feng all frustrated and tells him she's fine with him getting physical for real. She tells him to grab her hair and really give it a pull. Chen Feng just gives her a polite, gentlemanly smile, which in manhua language is usually the universal sign for things are about to get weird. Scene 2. Another round of shouting, another scuffle, and more dramatic screaming. It's not long before Liu Tianqi calls a timeout again. It's still not working. Kuo Dan's fear levels are still hitting a big fat 0. Kuo Dan turns on Chen Feng, asking him what his problem is and why he's being so hesitant. She's basically daring him to actually hit her, telling him she gave him the green light so he needs to stop acting like a scaredy cat. Chen Feng keeps that smile plastered on his face, but now it's looking genuinely cruel and sinister. It's the kind of expression that makes you want to check if your front door is locked. She 3. They dive back into the chaos. This time, Kuo Dan's scream is definitely louder, but it's not because Chen Feng actually hurt her. She's just overacting like a pig at a slaughterhouse, and it's so fake that Liu Tianqi shuts it down immediately. Liu Tianqi looks at Chen Feng and suggests that maybe he really should try actually hitting her, since he's always, "If you keep holding back like this, you're both going to be voted off the island." Kuo Dan is losing her mind at this point, looking at Chen Feng like he's a Wi-Fi router that keeps dropping the signal. She snaps, "Chen Feng, is something wrong with you? Just hit me. Don't tell me you're one of those guys who thinks a woman is a fragile porcelain doll." Chen Feng just gives her this thin, creepy grin, the kind of smile a shark gives a surfboard. He says, "Oh, I'm definitely game." Kuo Dan isn't having it, telling him that if he fails again, she's going to go off on him. He just keeps that polite, restrained smile. "Sure, let's do it." Cut to the rehearsal, and they haven't even finished the first awkward shove before the acting coach, Liu Tianqi, slams the stop button. She looks as disappointed as a gamer finding out their favorite franchise is becoming a mobile-only gacha game. she drops the hammer. This is garbage. Either actually fight or find some emotional resonance, because right now you guys have the chemistry of a budget spreadsheet. Figure it out. She storms out of the rehearsal room, fuming like she just got stuck behind a tractor on a one-lane road. She's genuinely confused, though. She could see that icy, psychopathic glint in Chen Feng's eyes, the kind of look that says he's already planned out where to hide your body. But for some reason, the guy just won't commit to the bit. She knows Q Dan is basically a participation trophy-level actress. Without a strong lead to carry her, she's going to be the first one eliminated. Liu Tianqi is totally baffled. She literally gave him the green light to go full method, rip the clothes, pull the hair, go for the knockout, and the guy still just stood there like his controller disconnected mid-boss fight. Liu Tianqi had actually gone back to watch the viral video of Chen Feng's legendary junkie performance from the auditions. To be honest, he was floored. If there hadn't been actual police statements and clean drug test results, Liu Tianqi would have bet his entire career that Chen Feng was genuinely high as a kite during that scene. Finding out it was all a performance made the guy seem like a literal acting god. Because of that, Liu Tianqi was actually pretty hyped to see Chen Feng in the rehearsal room, expecting a masterclass. But now, the vibes were definitely off. Chen Feng could find the right emotions, and his character positioning was perfect, but his body language and dedication to the craft were straight up lacking. It turns out our guy is trying to maintain some no-hitting woman principle. Seriously? In this industry, having principles is like having a Blockbuster membership, completely useless if you want to get ahead. If the script says, hit her, you hit her. Liu Tianqi just couldn't wrap his head around it. He's seen enough of this amateur hour and decided he was done. If they both get eliminated, it just proves Chen Feng is a one-trick pony with the range of a dial-up modem. So Liu Tianqi just walked out. Meanwhile, Q Dan was fuming in the corner, her thumbs moving like a pro gamer as she texted everyone about Chen Feng's unprofessional state. She even made sure to frame it, like Chen Feng was the one who chased the coach away. But as she hit send, she couldn't help but wonder why Chen Feng felt so weirdly different today. Chen Feng is standing there with a smile so polite it's actually terrifying. He looks like a high-level corporate shark who just successfully offshored his taxes, pure wolf in sheep's clothing energy. Just then, Ma Jun's phone buzzes with a message that's more direct than a subpoena. The bottom line, Chen Feng has to hit her for real. No fake Hollywood stage slaps allowed. Q Dan's acting is so wooden it's a fire hazard, and the only way she's getting any sympathy votes from the judges is if she actually takes a physical hit. If they don't go full method acting here, her career is basically a 404 error page. Q Dan is spiraling because Chen Feng is being a total wimp and won't swing. But hey, you can't really blame the guy. She's the female lead with a director in her pocket, and he's just a disposable extra, the kind of guy who gets edited out of the background of a commercial for being too boring. To him, hitting her would be like a low-level IT guy trying to punch the main server. It's just bad for job security. But for the sake of her own spotlight, she decides to negotiate. She approaches him while he keeps up that creepy-ass grin. Seriously, he's smiling like a guy who just found out his ex's new boyfriend is a crypto influencer. It's making her skin crawl, and she's internally cursing him out with every slur in the book. Still, she forces a fake smile and says, Chen Feng, let's talk. Our scene is special, and to really move the audience and get the judges' attention, you need to actually hit me. Don't worry about it. I know you're scared of hurting me, and I know you're probably... Q Dan is basically begging for an HR nightmare at this point. He is looking at Chen Feng, telling him there is absolutely no need to hold back. He is literally giving him a free pass to commit a felony, promising he won't call the cops or file a lawsuit later. He just wants to know what it feels like to be on the receiving end of a domestic disturbance, which is a weirdly specific bucket list item, but hey, we do not judge. He tells Chen Feng to man up and hit him, saying the more twisted and brutal it is, the better. Chen Feng just blinks, gives him a mysterious little grin, and agrees to the terms. Q-Dan gets hyped like he just found an unpatched exploit in a video game, realizing they have wasted so much time that it is almost lunch. Meanwhile, the two cameramen are basically statues at this point, yawning so hard they might dislocate their jaws. Recording these two is about as exciting as watching a printer run out of ink. Q-Dan drags Chen Feng to the middle of the room, looking him dead in the eye, and tells him to start with a practice slap just to test the waters. Chen Feng's smile gets even weirder as he reaches out, but the slap is so light it is more of a gentle caress. It is basically a skincare application. Q-Dan is absolutely fuming, probably wondering if he accidentally walked into a romance novel. He tells him to quit acting like he is petting a golden retriever and actually put some muscle into it. He swears he won't hold a grudge, so he tells him to just go for it. Chen Feng winds up and lets another one fly, and Q-Dan, Chen Feng is being way too gentle and Q-Dan is not having it. She snaps at him to stop caressing her and actually land a real hit. Seriously, this girl has watched way too many method acting documentaries. She asks Chen Feng if he's just being a creep trying to catch a feel, and then she drops the ultimate bribe. If he helps her get into character, she'll go out with him for a night once the competition is over. This isn't a training session anymore. It's a really weird corporate team-building exercise gone wrong. Chen Feng finally cracks a smile, the kind of smile your boss gives you right before announcing mandatory weekend overtime, and winds up. Whack! A solid slap sends her brain straight into a loading screen. Q-Dan is dizzy, but instead of calling for a medic, she's ecstatic. She tells him to treat her like his mortal enemy or like the person who spoiled the season finale of his favorite show. Another slap lands, and now her face is puffing up like a microwave burrito while her ears start ringing like a persistent scam caller. She's officially lost it, screaming for him to be even more of a psycho. Chen Feng's smile vanishes, replaced by the cold, dead stare of a guy whose Uber Eats order was just stolen from his porch. He puts his whole back into the next one, nearly knocking her into the next chapter. Q-Dan is wobbling like a jello mold in an earthquake, but she's mumbling about how the vibe is finally right for their performance. She tells him she needs a minute to stop seeing stars before they rehearse again because, surprise, surprise, getting hit in the face actually hurts. My face feels like it is inflating, Chen Feng mutters, drifting over to a corner to sit by himself like the kid nobody invited to the birthday party. Meanwhile, the two cameramen share a look that says they have just struck gold. One lens zooms in on Chen Feng's face, which is currently giving off major creepy antagonist vibes, while the other locks onto Q-Dan's face, which looks like a map of the galaxy drawn in shades of blue and purple. This is the kind of raw, unedited footage that producers would sacrifice their firstborn for. Not a single second is getting cut. When lunch rolls around, the other contestants scatter, but Chen Feng just inhales a quick meal and teleports back to the rehearsal room to sit in haunting silence. Q-Dan, on the other hand, heads out with Ma Jun, wearing a mask like she is a celebrity trying to dodge the paparazzi after a botched Botox job. That slap from earlier was no joke. Her face is glowing a deep violet that just will not quit. Her jaw feels like it was hit by a freight train, and she is seriously starting to rethink her life choices. But Ma Jun is absolutely loving it. He is grinning like a guy who just found out his ex's Netflix password still works. He tells her not to sweat it, because Chen Feng is basically a nobody, a glorified extra. Plus, the internet is already teeming with posts about the guy's alleged drug habits and shady scandals, so he is basically one cancel button away from being kicked off the show. Ma Jun tells her, Dan, the goal is to win with class. Make the judges think your acting is just that realistic. So really, he did us a favor by hitting you so hard. Just think of the ratings and ignore the pain. Q-Dan, clutching her throbbing cheek like she is holding on to her last bit of sanity, whines, Director, my face is literally on fire and turning black and blue. What am I supposed to do this afternoon? If we keep rehearsing, I am basically just his high-definition punching bag. Ma Jun looks at Q-Dan with the confidence of a guy who just sold a bridge to a tourist. He tells her the afternoon rehearsal is a total no-go, Can't have her looking like she lost a fight with a beehive before the big night. He's already ordered the premium anti-swelling cream to fix her face. The goal is simple. Lin Feng needs to slap her with the force of 1,000 angry keyboard warriors during the live broadcast. Once he goes full public menace on her, the internet will tear him apart faster than a Netflix show getting canceled after one season. He'll be blacklisted, cyberbullied, and kicked out of the industry for good. Trust me, he says. Kadan nods like she's just been given the secret to eternal youth. She's banking on Ma Jun to turn her into a top-tier A-list idol, and she isn't about to doubt her meal ticket now. While they're finishing lunch, they start some under-the-table negotiations. Let's just say Ma Jun is multitasking with his hands while they eat, and by the time they're done, Kloof Dan is looking very refreshed and misty-eyed. Total professional. Later, they head back to the rehearsal studio. The second they walk in, they see Lin Feng walking away from the two cameramen and heading to his corner. The camera guys have these weird, I've seen a ghost expressions on their faces, but Q-Dan is too busy living in her own head to notice. She's already imagining the spotlights, the fame, and the entire country worshiping her on the live stage. Taking a deep breath and channeling her inner Oscar winner, she walks up to him with a perfectly calm face and says, "Lin Feng." Q-Dan pulls off the mask, revealing a face that looks like it just lost a boxing match with a beehive. Even with enough ointment to grease a tractor, the swelling is still very much a thing, proving that Lin Feng's slap had more horsepower than a Tesla in ludicrous mode. Our boy Lin Feng just looks up with a smile so warm and polite, you'd think he just gave her a bouquet of roses instead of a permanent dent in her jaw. Q-Dan frantically shakes her head, insisting it's not his fault because she's the one who ordered the extra spicy realism for their performance. But since the live broadcast is tonight, she's basically benching herself from the rest of the afternoon rehearsals to make sure she doesn't go on stage looking like a Picasso painting. She tells Lin Feng to keep that same aggressive energy for the live show so they can trend on the manhua version of TikTok, convinced their segment will be the peak of the night. Lin Feng just stares at her, smiles like a saint, and then hits her with the ultimate plot twist. "Sorry, I can't do that." Q-Dan is absolutely floored. She's like, "Excuse me, we already did the trauma bonding this morning. Why the sudden change of heart?" She rushes him, demanding to know why he's getting cold feet after already turning her cheek into a sourdough loaf. Lin Feng just gives her that classic, "I'm the protagonist" grin and says, "I don't hit women." Apparently, seeing the swelling made him feel like he'd committed a major sin, especially since Q-Dan is stunned. Why is he looking at her like that? Suddenly it hits her, wait, is this guy actually into me? Talk about a massive ego boost. In her head, she's already picked out their wedding curtains. Her eyes light up, she throws on her best main character smirk and stands tall, giving him the full-blown flirtatious gaze. She bats her lashes and asks why she's so special. Lin Feng leans in, closing the gap like he's about to ask for her Wi-Fi password, but instead, he reaches out and gently strokes her hair. In a voice so soft it's basically ASMR, he tells her that to him, she's always been one of a kind. Apparently, in the Shark Tank of the entertainment industry, her innocence is a rare loot drop. Q-Dan is speechless, her face getting hotter than a smartphone after 3 hours of high-def gaming. Lin Feng keeps the smooth-talking marathon going, whispering that he's never met a girl whose eyes look so pure yet so enticing. Q-Dan's heart is racing like it just drank 4 shots of espresso. Now, let's be real. Lin Feng is a total 10 out of 10. If looks were currency, he'd be a billionaire compared to Ma Jun. The problem is, one is a rising director and the other is basically a professional background wall stander. Their social status gap is wider than the canyon in a Looney Tunes sketch. Lin Feng looks at her with the kind of gaze that belongs on a cheesy Cologne billboard and says, "Asking me to hit you for real is too much. I've been drowning in guilt and regret all afternoon over that slap from this morning. I'm not doing it again." Q-Dan's brain is basically a stadium full of screaming marmots right now. She's completely convinced this guy is the ultimate deep, soulful romantic. She's starting to catch some serious feelings for him, thinking about how if, looking at him, Kudan is pretty much convinced she'd be treated like a literal princess if they dated. Chen Feng has that premium emotional support energy that makes you feel actually cherished, which is a massive upgrade from her current situation with Ma Jun. See, Ma Jun's idea of a relationship is basically treating her like a human-sized inflatable doll. Sure, he technically made her the lead actress, but that promotion came with some very specific, very gross terms and conditions. We're talking on-call bedroom duty at a moment's notice, total loss of dignity, wear this outfit, role play as that character, scream these specific lines. It's basically a toxic workplace environment, but with less HR and more trauma. Honestly, any woman would have reached her breaking point by now. Q Dan's eyes start getting a bit misty, probably because this realization just struck a chord she didn't know she had. So there she is, staring at Chen Feng, and he's staring right back. They stay locked in this silent gaze for over 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Most people can't even look at their phone screens that long without blinking, but these two are doing a marathon. The two cameramen nearby are looking at each other like, are you seeing this? This is way beyond what they expected. This isn't just acting. It's like they're trying to win an Oscar for most intense, uncomfortable silence. They realize this behind-the-scenes footage might actually be better than the actual show, so they get serious, zooming in and adjusting the focus like they're filming a National Geographic special on rare emotional breakthroughs. But then the dream bubble pops and Q Dan finally snaps back to reality. She tells herself she has to stick to the original plan. No matter how much soulmate energy this guy is radiating, it doesn't change the facts. At the end of the day, he's just a professional background extra, a literal nobody in the grand hierarchy of social status. To her, he's got zero future. I mean, sure, he's on this show now, but in her head, a pretty face with a broke-tier career path is still a hard pass. In Q Dan's mind, Chen Feng is still nothing more than a glorified stepping stone. She's got this whole queen of the world complex going on, and she won't be satisfied until a guy like Chen Feng is kneeling at her feet like he's looking for a lost AirPod. Her eyes turn sharper than a budget kitchen knife as she backs up a couple of steps. She looks him dead in the face and asks what it's actually going to take for him to stop holding back. She wants that same factory reset energy from the slap he gave her this morning. She's literally asking him to name his price for a genuine beatdown, but Chen Feng just stands there looking at her like she's a pop-up ad he can't skip. Q Dan is grinding her teeth so hard she's basically doing DIY dental work. Since this guy is clearly not interested in her please hit me pitch, she ducks into a corner to text the director Ma Jun. After a few seconds, Ma Jun replies with a strategy that sounds like it came straight from a shady corporate HR handbook. He tells her to keep pushing, tell Chen Feng they'll sign a legal waiver, promise not to sue or milk the drama for clout afterward, and here is the kicker, they'll even pay him a consultation fee for his services. Q Dan stops for a second as a rare moment of logic hits her. She realizes just how incredibly cursed this conversation is. She is aggressively begging a man to beat her up, promising she won't call the cops, and then offering him a paycheck for the manual labor of ruining her face. It's like paying for a premium subscription service where the only feature is getting trampled. She's literally paying to be a victim, and even she's starting to wonder if she's just being a total masochist at this point. So Q Dan grits her teeth and marches back to Chen Feng, leaning in like she's about to share a government secret. She tells him that if he's terrified of a lawsuit, they can just sign a no-liability agreement. Look at her go, trying to bypass the legal department like she's an intern at a tech startup. She whispers that during the live broadcast, he needs to stop pulling his punches and actually hit her. For the sake of the perfect shot, of course. She promises not to play the victim afterward or use it to milk some drama on social media. She's even willing to pay him a consultation fee if he'll just agree to some real deal, bone-crunching action on camera. Chen Feng gives her a look that says, "Are you for real?" and asks if she's truly sacrificing her body for the sake of art. Ku Dan nods vigorously, probably hoping for an Oscar nomination for Best Reality Star. She reminds him that she's a professional lead actress, and her whole mission on this show is to present her authentic self to the fans. She claims she's duty-bound to suffer for the craft. Chen Feng shakes his head, sighing about how he's just a shallow common guy compared to her noble spirit, but then he hits her with the only question that matters. So how much is this consultation fee anyway? Quadan is speechless. Her internal monologue is basically a series of censored bleeps. She's thinking, is this guy serious? I actually thought he was some mysterious, soulful warrior for a second. She even admits to herself that she had a bit of a physiological reaction to him earlier, call it a spark or just a weird muscle spasm. But now she realizes he's just a cowardly, money-hungry background extra. Fighting back the urge to slap him for free, she grinds her teeth and tells him the price for his artistic contribution is $20,000, which is about $2,800. Think 20 grand is enough. Chen Feng just shakes his head like he's watching a movie reboot nobody asked for. He tells her straight up that if she decides to sue him later, $20,000 won't even cover the retainer for a lawyer who graduated from a TikTok ad. He's not about to get out-finished by a girl who thinks a pinky promise is a binding contract. Kuo Dan is literally vibrating with rage, looking like she's about to cough up a lung. She's questioning every life choice that led her to actually catch feelings for this absolute menace. She snaps at him, asking if he'd have the guts to take a cool million. Chen Feng just gives her that "I know my worth" smile and says $1 million is overkill. He asks for 88,000. Why? Because it's a lucky number and it'll at least keep his legal team in premium coffee during a trial. Dan is grinding her teeth so hard it sounds like a gravel crusher. She swears on her dignity she won't come after him, but she agrees to the 88,000 just to end the nightmare. But there's a catch. She tells him if he breaks the deal, he owes her 880,000. That's a 10 times markup that would make a corporate patent troll blush. Chen Feng just grins, claiming he's a total law-abiding citizen. Ku Dan is fuming, probably wishing the script was flipped so she could give him the domestic violence special without getting a subpoena. 20 minutes later, she comes back with an agreement prepared by Ma Jun. They sign the deal and swap the cash while the cameraman is distracted, probably checking his fantasy football league. Once the notification hits his phone, Chen Feng goes right back to his corner and sits down like he didn't just pull off a high-stakes shakedown. Kwa Dan is left clutching that paper, feeling like she just got scammed by a guy who looks like he still uses his parents' Netflix password. Imagine paying 88,000 bucks. That's about $12,000 for those of you not keeping track of the exchange rate, just to sign a contract that says, "Please punch me in the face." Seriously, if this got out, the internet would roast him harder than a cheap coffee bean. But hey, it's all for the grind. Our genius protagonist thinks he's about to break the algorithm. The plan is simple. Get absolutely wrecked on a live broadcast, make the audience weep for the victim, and watch the guy doing the hitting get canceled faster than a celebrity with a leaked group chat from 2012. It's a flawless strategy for instant fame and a mountain of sympathy followers. Quad Dan is literally grinning like he just found a glitch in the simulation. Fast forward through the afternoon, and it's showtime. We're at the Yanjing Grand Theater, which is so shiny and gold it's basically screaming, "We have more money than you." The judges panel is a real nightmare rotation. We've got the elite Tongigi, teacher Huang, who's rocking enough greasy charm to require a hazardous waste permit, and the legendary rogue director Zhang Wen. Throw in Liu Tianqi, and you've got 4 heavy hitters ready to crush some dreams. The clock hits 8 p.m., the primetime slot for people who've officially run out of things to scroll through, and the broadcast goes live. The vibe is massive. After a quick, "Look at how great we are" speech from the host, we dive straight into the deep end. Since there are way too many contestants and not enough airtime, the rounds are shorter than a TikTok attention span. One quick scene, then the judges decide if you're a star or a local meme. The judges are using a classic elimination format. 4 judges, and you need at least 3 votes to pass. If they hit a 2-2 tie, the contestants are tossed into the maybe pile for a rematch once the main event is over. It's a system so basic, even a middle manager at a failing tech startup could understand it. The qualifiers kick off, and our duo, Lin Feng and Dan, are slotted in for the back half of the show. They're stuck in a tiny rehearsal room, watching the live feed, basically doing the pro gamer scouting the lobby routine to see what the competition is bringing to the table. Lin Feng is acting like he's watching paint dry, cool, calm, and collected. Meanwhile, Dan is vibrating with enough anxiety to power a small city. She keeps side-eyeing him, terrified he's going to ghost the performance at the last second and leave her hanging. Finally, the staff knocks on the door. It's showtime. Dan's heart is practically trying to escape through her ribs. She grabs Lin Feng's arm like he's the last life jacket on the Titanic and whispers, "Lin Feng, tell me you aren't backing out. I seriously do not have $880,000 to pay you back." Lin Feng just gives her a relaxed kid look and hits her with a "don't worry about it" before walking out. Cold. Real main character energy right there. Dan takes a deep breath and checks her face in the mirror. Luckily, the swelling from her earlier incident has mostly gone down. A little bit of makeup, and she won't look like she just lost a round of Street Fighter. The cameras go live, and it's time for their big break. The prompt? Lin Feng has to play a psychopathic, abusive husband, while Dan plays his terrified victim. Talk about method acting. Hopefully, he doesn't take the role too literally. The host steps up to the mic to announce the title of their scene. On the judging panel, Jiang Wen suddenly perks up and sits straighter than a student during a surprise inspection. Why? Because the female lead in the original work was one of his favorite actresses and even starred in his movies. Plus, a domestic violence scene is like the Dark Souls of acting challenges. Insanely difficult to pull off. Seeing this in a mid-level qualifier is rarer than finding a gym bro who doesn't post a mirror selfie. So, Jiang Wen is locked in. Our boy Tongage also sits up, but he's just here for the popcorn and the drama. Seeing an abuse scene on a mainstream variety show is about as common as a peaceful comment section on a political post. He's basically just waiting for the emotional train wreck to start. Then there is Teacher Huang, looking like your typical midlife crisis uncle who's had one too many appetizers. He's got that greasy, "I know something you don't" smirk plastered on his face while whispering secrets to Liu Tianqi. He doesn't look hyped, just nosy. The stage is set faster than a generic fantasy protagonist gains his cheat powers, and the actors walk in. The moment Lin Feng hits the screen, the live stream chat absolutely loses its mind. The bullet comments are flying faster than red flags on a first date. "I knew that name sounded familiar," one fan screams. "Isn't this the dude who played a drug addict so well that the actual police showed up to raid the set?" Yeah, it's him. Triple sixes in the chat for the legend himself. Someone please explain, is he actually a junkie or just a god-tier actor? One expert in the chat claims his previous performance was so realistic, he had to be going through actual withdrawals. No way a normal person looks that twitchy without a serious problem. But wait, didn't the cops already clear him? Some people just have the luck of a lottery winner who keeps finding $20 bills on the street. First he plays a junkie, and now he's playing an abusive husband in the qualifiers. This man is speedrunning his way into becoming the ultimate cinematic villain. The audience is ready for the chaos. Alright, things are getting juicy. The audience is already judging, and some girl named Xiao Hong is basically calling out the perfect girl face on stage, wondering how they're going to pull off the physical stuff. If they fake the slap, it's a total cringe fest, but if he actually hits her, the actress is going to have a nuclear meltdown. Either way, the viewers are here for the chaos. Meanwhile, in the stands, Ma Jun is scrolling through his phone like a middle manager on a Friday afternoon, looking incredibly smug. He's patting himself on the back for pairing Kuo Dan and Chen Feng together. Even before the cameras started rolling, Q Dan's popularity was skyrocketing faster than a botched celebrity apology video. People are leaking her new project info and even Ma Jun's personal details, but does he care? Please. In the entertainment world, there's no such thing as bad publicity. You can hate watch or fanboy as long as you're watching. He knows the internet thrives on pure curiosity and drama. Ma Jun puts his phone down, ready to watch this 10-minute segment play out. His plan is simple. If Chen Feng actually lands that hit, the wave of public sympathy will carry Q Dan straight to the finals. Public opinion is a hell of a drug, and he's the dealer. The qualifiers officially kick off, and we see Q Dan acting all busy at home, while Chen Feng walks in looking like he just found out his favorite show got canceled on a cliffhanger. They start bickering, and the atmosphere gets darker than a basement during a power outage. At first, the audience thinks it's just standard TV drama, but Chen Feng is actually the MVP here. He's perfectly capturing that low-key, psychopathic vibe with a cold, dead-eyed stare that says, "I'm definitely the guy you don't want to meet in a dark alley." So Q Dan is out here acting like a cardboard cutout, and his attempt at a heated argument is about as convincing as a hot singles in your area pop-up. It's painful to watch until Q Dan says something that officially triggers Chen Feng's inner demon. Chen Feng's face goes full dark mode, his eyes flickering with the kind of light you only see in a horror movie jump scare. He lunges forward and grabs Q Dan by the hair, and I don't mean a playful tug. He's pulling that scalp like he's trying to start a stubborn lawnmower. The live stream audience collectively forgets how to breathe. Q Dan's face is being stretched into a new dimension, and his expression is pure, unadulterated. I definitely did not sign up for this. Even though he knew this was coming, he clearly didn't expect Chen Feng to go full Gorilla Glue on him. The sheer force makes Q Dan's brain hit Alt F4 on his script. He's so focused on not losing his hairline that he completely forgets his lines. But Chen Feng, he's in the zone. He doesn't care about the script anymore. He's just out here living his best psycho actor life. He's screaming his dialogue while dragging Q Dan around and putting him in a chokehold that would make an MMA ref sweat. Q Dan is shrieking and flailing, but the more he squirms, the harder Chen Feng leans into the violence. The legendary director, Jiang Wen, literally jumps out of his seat like he just saw his house go up in flames. He's staring at the stage with his eyes wide, probably wondering if he's witnessing a masterpiece or a felony. This performance is giving off major unhinged villain energy. We're talking levels of crazy that make classic TV psychos look like kindergarten teachers. People in the crowd are whispering, wondering if Chen Feng is actually just a ticking time bomb using the stage as a legal outlet for his issues. Everyone remembers that massive mess-up he caused during the auditions in Beijing. That story went viral faster than a leaked celebrity tape, and the internet has about 50 different versions of what really happened. But one thing is for sure, most people believe Chen Feng is Look, even if the police showed up with a certified document proving he was clean, the internet wouldn't believe it. They'd just say he's on some high-tier illegal juice because, let's face it, being a total psycho is just another Tuesday for this guy. The live stream comments are literally drowning out the video. It's like a digital riot in the chat. People are screaming, "Holy crap, he's actually hitting her!" He just ripped out a handful of hair. Does this guy even have a soul? One person says the look in his eyes is triggering their deepest childhood traumas, while another guy comments that he's finally opened his eyes to the truth. And of course, there's the resident comedian asking how that guy managed to aim in the bathroom if his eyes were closed until today. I didn't expect to be hit by a stray joke about bathroom logistics, but life is full of surprises. Is this stream even allowed? I'm waiting for the platform's automated censors to have a collective stroke and pull the plug. Everyone watching is absolutely paralyzed by the sheer, unhinged insanity radiating off Chen Feng. As for Q Dan, she checked out of the acting part of this performance a long time ago. She was just straight up struggling to survive. Finally, the bell rings. In a move that would give an HR manager a permanent twitch, Chen Feng snaps back to normal instantly. He reaches down to help Q Dan up with the kind of polite energy you'd expect from a waiter asking if you want to see the dessert menu. He's all like, "Oops, my bad, you okay?" Wadan is currently doing her best impression of a broken accordion, coughing violently and shaking like a leaf. Her hair is a total disaster, and her face has turned a very concerning shade of royal purple. Her neck is covered in scratches from the literal life and death struggle she just went through. She stares at Chen Feng with tears and snot running down her face, and as soon as she catches her breath, she starts stomping her feet and screaming, "What is wrong with you? You almost strangled me to death. You hit. Oh God, it hurts. What the hell are you doing? You total creep." Q Dan's scream hits the room like a flashbang, and suddenly the whole place is buzzing like a beehive that just got kicked by a mule. The audience is losing their collective minds, and the gossip is flying faster than a group chat after a bad breakup. People are shouting that it's way too violent or that he's clearly just using the script to settle a personal grudge. One guy even screams, "Is this dude on something?" and starts demanding they call the cops. It's a total circus, and honestly the only thing missing is a guy selling overpriced popcorn down in the stands. Ma Jun is practically glowing with pure, unadulterated joy. He pulled more strings to get into this live recording than a middle manager trying to get a LinkedIn endorsement from their boss, and this chaos is exactly the return on investment he was hoping for. Over at the judges' table, the vibe is a complete train wreck. Jiang Wen slowly sits back down, looking as heavy-hearted as a guy who just realized he's been paying for a gym membership he hasn't used in 3 years. Tong Ge has her hand glued to her mouth like she's watching a failed gender reveal party, and Teacher Huang is just shaking his head in pure disappointment. Then there's Liu Tianqi, who's just staring at the stage like her brain just hit a 404 error. Meanwhile, Chen Feng is the calmest person in the room. He steps back, the psycho-pervert energy vanishing faster than a paycheck on rent day. He's just standing there now with a peaceful expression and eyes so clear you'd think he spent the last 10 years meditating on a mountain instead of traumatizing his co-star. The host rushes out along with 2 assistants to drag a sobbing Q Dan off stage. Her face is a mess. She needs a serious industrial-grade makeup touch-up if she wants to be TV-ready again. This is officially the first real ratings spike the show has ever seen, because turns out people love a good public meltdown. Even back at the local police station, Officer New Da Li is watching the broadcast with a look of pure dread. He's staring at the screen with a weirded-out face, thinking, "This kid is out here starting trouble again, isn't he?" 5 minutes later, Q Dan is back on stage, rocking a fresh outfit and a face mask. Her eyes are redder than a professional gamer's after a 48-hour Twitch marathon. She's standing near Chen Feng, looking like a kicked puppy and radiating that innocent victim energy that PR agents dream about. The producers didn't hit the kill switch on the stream because, let's be real, why stop a train wreck when the ratings are through the roof? But the internet? Oh boy, it's already a dumpster fire. A literal army of keyboard warriors has crawled out from the dark corners of the web to cancel Chen Feng into the shadow realm. The comment section is a toxic waste dump of "men are trash," "he's a beast for hitting a woman," and "cancel this scumbag." People are even accusing him of being on the super soldier serum, screaming for the devs. I mean, the judges, to hit him with an immediate drug test. The showrunners finally got that viral peak they wanted, but it's trending for all the wrong reasons. Up in the stands, Ma Jun fan is scrolling through the trending topics, and his face is losing color faster than a cheap knockoff t-shirt in a hot wash. He's staring at his phone thinking, wait, what's the play here? Sure, Chen Feng becoming public enemy number 1 was expected, but Q Dan? She's completely vanished from the narrative. Every single post is hyper-focusing on Chen Feng's brutality, calling it live-streamed domestic violence against a helpless female contestant. Q Dan's name isn't even being mentioned. She's just being used as a generic prop to fuel the outrage machine. The internet doesn't actually care who she is, they just want a villain to burn at the stake, and Chen Feng is currently the guest of honor at his own roast. The collective focus of the mob is all eyes are currently glued to Chen Feng because his previous audition went more viral than a cat video on a Tuesday. Meanwhile, we've got our boy Ku Dan over here, who's basically a professional hat collector. He just took off his perfect gentleman hat and replaced it with the victim of domestic abuse beanie. The internet's keyboard warriors and self-proclaimed social justice experts are having a literal seizure over the drama, which makes Ma Jun's blood pressure skyrocket. He's watching the live stream, praying the judges don't see through the BS. Finally, the host hands the floor to the 4 judges. Jiang Wen, the most respected veteran on the panel, just stares at Chen Feng with a look that says he's trying to figure out if he left the stove on at home. He doesn't say a word. But Teacher Huang, this guy has the patience of a gamer on a laggy server. He grabs the mic and drops a truth bomb, saying that while acting is an expressive art, this performance looks more like a pervert's disguise. He keeps it short, sweet, and savage, then casts his vote for Ku Dan. The pass, light flashes, and the crowd goes absolutely nuclear. Backstage, Ma Jun lets out a breath he's been holding since the Ming Dynasty. As long as they move to the next round, all this messy PR was worth the headache. On stage, Ku Dan is fully committed to the bit, squeezing out tears like he's auditioning for a tragic funeral scene in a budget soap opera. Now, everyone in the room assumes the other judges will just follow Teacher Huang's lead. I mean, the guy is a legend in the industry with a reputation that precedes him, even if he has become a bit of a loose cannon in his old age. Teacher Huang finishes his little speech, but the other 3 judges are quieter than a group chat after someone drops an accidental spicy photo. Jiang Wen is just staring at Chen Feng like he's trying to solve a Rubik's Cube with his mind, while Liu Tianqi is looking down, scribbling notes frantically like she's writing a grocery list or a very long resignation letter. As for Tong Gege, he clearly has no idea who to pick, so he's just shamelessly peeking at the other 2 like a middle schooler during a surprise math final. Finally, the host realizes the silence is getting awkward and tags Jiang Wen into the ring. The man finally leans in, clears his throat, and tilts his head like a confused husky. He asks Chen Feng if he actually went to acting school, and before our boy can even answer, the host shoves a mic in his face. Jiang Wen doesn't hold back, demanding an explanation for what in the unholy spicy hell that performance was supposed to be. This guy has the social filter of a drunk uncle at a wedding and cares about a live broadcast about as much as a billionaire cares about a parking ticket. Everyone in the room clenches hard enough to turn coal into diamonds, certain that Chen Feng is absolutely cooked. The spotlight hits him, but Chen Feng stays cooler than the underside of a pillow. He calmly tells the room that the whole high-intensity acting style was actually a joint decision between him and Ku Dan, aiming for that raw, emotional explosion. But before he can even finish his sentence, Ku Dan starts screeching like she just saw her bank balance hit 0. She screams at him to stop talking trash, claiming she only said he could try something, not go full nuclear on the stage. Sure, I said make it look real, but I didn't say go full John Wick on my face. Stop twisting the facts. Ku Dan is screeching like a Karen whose coupon just expired, but Chen Feng, our boy, is as calm as a monk on a spa day. He turns to the production crew, gives a polite little bow, and asks them to roll the behind-the-scenes footage. Suddenly, Ku Dan's stomach drops faster than a crypto coin in a bear market. He finally realizes he's been played. All day long, he was the one pushing for artistic realism, practically begging Chen Feng to lay hands on him. Looking back, he walked right into the trap. He stares at Chen Feng with eyes wider than a flat earther seeing the horizon, realizing the dude wasn't being difficult earlier, he was just baiting him into a please punch me marathon. It's like watching someone realize they didn't just accept cookies on a website, they accidentally signed over their soul to a digital demon, the big screen lights up, and the audience gets the full receipts. From the sloppy rehearsals to the coaching from Liu Tianqi, the footage shows Ku Dan repeatedly demanding, No, insisting on actual physical contact. Then comes the highlight reel, the slaps. Oh, the slaps. They weren't just hits. They were soul-leaving the body experiences delivered with the speed of a fiber optic connection. The audience starts wincing, their own jaws aching just from watching the playback. But the real kicker? The footage shows Qiu Dan literally pleading for the hits, followed by a clip of the two of them signing a legal waiver like they're closing a deal on a haunted mansion. The live stream goes dead silent. Everyone is looking at each other like they're in a group chat where someone just accidentally posted their private folder. Looking at the sheer force of those rehearsal slaps, the performance on stage suddenly looks like a gentle facial massage. Qiu Dan's face turns a shade of green that hasn't been seen since the last bad CGI superhero movie. Once the footage of Qiu Dan swaying like a Jenga tower finishes playing, Lin Feng picks up the mic and turns toward her. He drops a bow so deep you'd think he's looking for his lost dignity, but we all know he's just trolling at a professional level. He tells her he's deeply moved by her sacrifice for art and calls her a role model for every actor out there. He basically hands her the win while stabbing her with top-tier sarcasm, and Qiu Dan just stands there, totally speechless. The live audience starts clapping like they're at a tech product launch for a phone that's exactly the same as last year's. The internet is having a total meltdown because they didn't expect this much plot depth from a guy they were just trying to cancel 5 minutes ago. Suddenly, Lin Feng is being praised for being upright and straightforward. One commenter says his line about not hitting women unless they push too hard was smooth, which immediately sends the chat into a spiral of double meanings that would make a frat boy proud. Seriously, someone tells the chat to pipe down before the cyber police show up to track their IPs. When did the internet become such a digital landfill? Meanwhile, below the stage, Ma Jun's face is turning a lovely shade of spoiled milk. He thought he was a genius for setting Lin Feng up to look like a thug, but he forgot the cardinal rule of media. Reality TV producers are the ultimate final bosses of being shameless. Those guys could edit a video of a saint to make it look like they're plotting a coup. They took the drama and cranked it to 11, and now the plan has backfired. The tide has turned so hard it's giving the viewers whiplash. Nobody is white knighting for the poor, weak woman anymore. Instead, the comments are just flooded with 2 words. She deserved it. It's a total bloodbath in the comments as the live broadcast keeps rolling. Qiu Dan is officially spiraling. She has absolutely no comeback left, especially after Lin Feng just dropped a speech so noble the audience is practically ready to canonize him on the spot. Everyone is losing their minds over what a real man he is. I mean, the guy gets slandered, stays cooler than the underside of a pillow, proves his innocence, and then has the audacity to wish his rival good luck. That is some top-tier main character energy right there. While Lin Feng is standing there looking like a masterpiece, Qiu Dan is looking like a 404 error page. She glances over at the VIP section for backup, but Ma Jun has already pulled a total disappearing act, vanishing faster than a crypto scammer after a rug pull. With the room getting tense, the host finally passes the mic to the big boss, director Zhang Wen. He takes a beat, then lets out a decision in that signature gravelly voice that sounds like he has been gargling thumbtacks. He chooses Lin Feng. The crowd erupts like they just won the lottery. When the host asks for a deep cinematic explanation, Zhang Wen just shrugs and says there is not one. He admits that even with his legendary directing skills, he could not have coached an actor to hit that level of raw emotion. It is the ultimate game-recognize-game moment. So here we are at a 1-to-1 tie. Teacher Huang and director Zhang Wen are split, which means the whole circus now rests on the shoulders of our final judge, Tong Ge. Next up, we have the lovely Tong Ji, who looks like a total idol but speaks with a raspy voice that sounds like she's been gargling gravel and broken dreams. She admits that, honestly, her eyes were glued to Lin Feng the whole time. It sounds rude, but she didn't even notice Qiu Dan's performance. To be fair, Qiu Dan didn't really perform as much as he just had a public mental breakdown. It was less acting and more screaming in terror, like he just accidentally liked his ex's photo from 3 years ago. Ge chooses Chen Feng because of his absolute control over the character. One second, he's a total psycho, and the next, he's back to his normal chill self, which is honestly more impressive than the actual act. She asks him how he managed to lose himself in the role like that, and Chen Feng just grabs the mic with the energy of a tired software engineer and calls it a self-hypnosis effect. Ge is totally sold on this vague but deep answer and locks in her vote for Chen. The crowd goes wild because the score is now 2-1. All eyes turn to the final judge, Liu Tianqi. Now, the host is secretly praying she drops a sympathy vote for Q Dan just to force a tie. They want that sweet, sweet drama of a tiebreaker round to boost the ratings. It's the classic reality TV tactic, like when a website makes you click through 12 pages of ads just to find the actual article. Since Chen Feng and the internet never forgets, especially when a story is left hanging like a cliffhanger in a canceled Netflix series. Our boy Chen Feng is still living rent-free on the trending charts, which is more than most of us can say for our social media engagement. The host, desperate for some spicy tea to keep the viewers from clicking away, turns to Liu Tianqi with a classic bait and switch. He asks for her female perspective on the contestants, thinking he's being clever with his wordplay. Nice try, buddy, but Liu Tianqi isn't some scripted NPC you can manipulate. She's the final boss of acting coaches, and she doesn't care about your corporate-approved leading questions. Liu Tianqi finally looks up from her notes, probably wondering why she's surrounded by amateurs. She stares down Q Dan and drops a truth bomb heavier than a toddler's tantrum in a quiet library. She tells her flat out that her performance was a total dumpster fire. The first half was so wooden it could have been sold at IKEA, and by the second half, she wasn't even acting anymore. She was just legitimately terrified of Chen Feng's performance. Q Dan just stands there, nodding like a kicked puppy, because what else is she going to do? Tell the lady who holds her career in her hands that she's wrong? I don't think so. Liu Tianqi, surprisingly showing a shred of mercy, decides to give Q Dan a chance at a do-over. She tells her she's going to describe a specific emotional state, and Q Dan has to act it out on the spot. But before she can even process the panic, Teacher Huang jumps in like that one annoying coworker who replies all to every email. He starts hyping her up, pointing out that even though she didn't go to some fancy acting academy, she's already a lead actress in a drama. He's basically telling her to show off that main character energy in front of everyone. Q Dan's face falls faster than a crypto coin after a bad tweet. Live improv is basically her worst nightmare. It's like being asked to fix a jet engine while the plane is already midair. But since she can't exactly say no on national television, Q Dan, Liu Tianqi barely managed to squeeze out a smile and a nod before looking back at her notes. She told Q Dan, "All right, here is your prompt. Your rival just won the round, but you know for a fact he's a total fraud who used backdoor connections and daddy's money to cheat his way to the top. Show us how you'd react to that news." Q Dan didn't even have to try. He thought, wow, the author is really making this easy for me. He immediately glared at Chen Feng, and our boy Chen Feng, being the absolute legend he is, just turned around, shrugged his shoulders, and gave him a smirk that basically said, yeah, stay mad. That smirk hit Q Dan harder than a storage full notification when you're trying to take a video. His blood started boiling faster than a cheap electric kettle. The host backed off, the crowd went dead silent, and everyone leaned in to see the performance. Q Dan completely lost it, screaming at the top of his lungs, "Is there no justice left in the world? He's a fraud. He's a fake. He's got no business winning this. I protest." On what grounds does he get to win? He's clearly just riding on his connections. Are you people blind? Suddenly, the screaming stopped. Q Dan realized he might have leaned a bit too hard into the method acting and accidentally called out the actual reality of the room. He froze on stage like a laggy NPC. Chen Feng calmly turned back toward the panel, leaving Q Dan to drown in his own salt. The judges' faces were a whole mood. Teacher Huang looked like he just accidentally liked an ex's photo from 3 years ago. Pure, unadulterated awkwardness. Then there was Tong Gege, who was covering her mouth, trying her hardest not to wheeze, though her eyes were crinkling into crescent moons. And finally, there was Jiang Wen, who sat there with a face as cold as a corporate HR email, giving absolutely nothing. Liu Tianqi looked about, as impressed as a cat watching a PowerPoint presentation. He blinked, stared at the guy, and finally asked, "Ku Dan, where exactly did you learn that angry waterfall style of acting? Was it at the School of YouTube comment sections?" Dan's face turned redder than a strawberry in a high-speed blender, stuttering and tripping over his words like a toddler in oversized shoes. Honestly, the guy couldn't talk his way out of a paper bag. Liu Tianqi saw right through the act, shook his head in pure disappointment, and shifted his gaze to our main man, Chen Feng. "All right, Chen Feng," Liu Tianqi said. "I've got a topic for you. Let's see your interpretation." Chen Feng just gave a calm nod. Now, look, improvising on the spot is harder than trying to cancel a gym membership, but Chen Feng was feeling pretty good about his odds. Why? Because when your competition is this much of a dumpster fire, you look like a legend just by standing still. It's the classic low-bar strategy, and it's a beautiful thing. Liu Tianqi looked down at his notes and said, "I want you to show me peak arrogance. The kind of attitude where you don't think anyone else in the room even deserves to breathe your air. The scenario is simple. You're facing off against the four of us as your rivals." He looked up, waiting for Chen Feng to bring the heat. Suddenly, a ding echoed in Chen Feng's head like an annoying Slack notification. System detected host is about to act out the arrogant and reckless tag. Congratulations, you are now officially a top-tier jerk. Chen Feng was actually a bit stunned. Normally, the system only kicked in for specific roles, like when he had to play a refined gentleman, a professional chef, or that one psycho domestic abuser role that would definitely get him canceled on Twitter. He hadn't realized he could trigger these god-tier buffs just by acting out a specific mood for a random audition. Chen Feng starts tapping into that sweet system power to crank his arrogance up to 11. He gets this smirk on his face, the kind of look someone gives you when they know your phone's search history is about to be leaked. Liu Tianqi looks at him and asks if he actually understands the assignment. The mission is simple. Treat these four legendary judges like they're just some low-tier scrubs competing against him in a reality show. He needs to look down on them like they're a pop-up ad for a mobile game no one wants to play. Chen Feng just nods, looking as calm as a guy who knows he's the protagonist in a world full of NPCs. Now the audience is leaning in because this kind of improv is the ultimate vibe check. Some actors are absolute cringe when they try this. Take Q Dan, for example, whose acting has all the grace and subtlety of a middle-aged lady screaming at a retail worker over an expired coupon. But then you have the high-tier pros. Chen Feng is basically the GOAT of method acting. This man played a junkie so convincingly that the police actually showed up to give him a free ride to the station for some questioning. He played a villain so well the lead actress skipped the script and went straight into a genuine mental breakdown. The guy is a literal menace to society. Everyone is holding their breath, waiting to see how he's going to pull off peak arrogance. The whole hall goes dead silent as the spotlight hits him like he's about to announce he's buying Twitter and renaming it something stupid. But then, Chen Feng breaks the tension by asking Liu Tianqi if the judges can actually get off their high horses and step up onto the stage. He says he wants to set the scene, which is basically the actor equivalent of asking your boss to hold your coffee while you do a backflip over their desk. Jiang Wen actually loves the audacity and jumps right up, followed by teacher Huang, who's apparently down to be a glorified background extra for the day. So the host turns to Tong Jiji and asks if he's ready for some high-stakes stage acting. Tong Jiji stands up with a smirk, admitting that honestly, he's never actually done a stage play before. Being live in front of a real crowd like this, first time for everything, I guess. It's like a pro gamer admitting they've only ever played Minesweeper, but hey, We're rolling with it. The host tells him he's in the right place to feel the heat and then drags Tian Chi into the mix, telling him to hop up and be a human background prop. Because why not? If you're getting paid judge money, you might as well work for it. The host is basically vibrating with excitement now, shouting to the crowd that having all 4 judges on stage is a rare sight, especially since this is only the first round of the qualifiers. They're definitely milking this for every last drop of clout and ad revenue. Let's see what kind of masterpiece Lin Feng and these 4 legends are about to cook up. On stage, Lin Feng isn't wasting time. He has people bring out a few chairs, lining them up with a table in the center while he takes a seat to the side. The judges are looking at him like he's a puzzle they can't solve, especially Jiang Wen. The big shot director is genuinely surprised. Most kids his age can't even decide what to order for lunch in under 10 minutes, yet Lin Feng managed to design a whole scene and manipulate 4 industry titans into joining his improv set. Jiang Wen starts thinking this kid might actually have some director DNA in him, and he's starting to pay real attention. Once everyone is seated, Lin Feng hands a piece of paper to Jiang Wen with the kind of politeness you usually reserve for a grandma with a secret cookie recipe. He asks director Jiang Wen to follow the notes to help him out. Jiang Wen takes a look and realizes it's a couple of lines, and even though they're short, Lin Feng literally wrote down exactly what emotion and attitude to use for each one. Jiang Wen almost laughs. It's pretty ballsy to try and direct a world-class director, but he finds it entertaining. As for the other 3, everyone's looking at Lin Feng like he's just announced he's joining a pyramid scheme. He gives them a quick rundown of the plot, but meanwhile, the host is vibrating with pure anxiety. We're deep into overtime, and the production schedule is looking more bloated than a AAA video game on launch day. This was supposed to be a quick segment, but Lin Feng's previous explosive performance sent the show's hype into the stratosphere. Now, the crew is panic buying time for a last-minute challenge. On a live broadcast, every second counts, and the host is terrified the audience is going to get bored and go watch a satisfying power washing video instead. The host sneaks off to check the live data, probably expecting the ratings to be in the toilet. But surprise, surprise, the numbers are spiking harder than your electricity bill during a heat wave. It's official. Lin Feng is basically a human clickbait generator. Now, the entire internet is placing bets on how he's going to pull off this arrogant and overbearing scene. And don't forget the 4 judges waiting to pounce like vultures at a clearance sale. One slip up and he's going to be the main character of a cringe compilation video. Let's be real, acting arrogant is a total trap. It's like trying to define a fair price for a used car. Everyone's got a different opinion. Some think it's about the I'm better than you smirk, while others think it's just about being a massive tool. Unless you're naturally a world-class jerk, it's a tough sell. Some keyboard warrior in the comments is already acting like they've got a PhD in IQ, claiming that everyone has their own version of what a cool guy looks like. Basically, unless you're actually a narcissist, you're just playing dress up. One guy is even saying you just need to act like a total meme tier Sha Diao clown. So this guy is out here literally chewing on the props, and the 4 judges are just sitting there like they're watching a glitch in the Matrix. Talk about taking method acting to a weird new level. Honestly, why is it so satisfying to watch Lin Feng play the villain? Whether he's rocking the eyeshadow-wearing psycho look or playing a toxic domestic nightmare, he fits the role way too well. It's almost concerning, like checking your roommate's search history concerning. Meanwhile, over at the Dongfang building, which stands about 300 meters or roughly 1,000 feet into the sky, Liu Rui is getting her makeup touched up for a night shoot. But instead of focusing on her lines, she's glued to the live stream of Lin Feng. She's got a major case of the post-hookup regrets. See, after their little one-night stand, she's been catching serious feelings, which is a big no-no in the idol industry handbook. She basically committed the ultimate sin by getting involved with Lin Feng right under the nose of her manager, Zhuang Chengwen. And let me tell you, Zhuang is beyond salty. If he were a Yelp reviewer, he'd be giving her a 1-star rating for services not rendered. He's only keeping her around because she's got a special connection with some big shot named Song Guohui. Otherwise, he would have ghosted her career faster than a Tinder match when they find out you still live with your parents. He's actually thinking, and I kid you not, that there's no point in promoting her if he didn't get the first bite. Yeah, because nothing says professionalism like comparing your talent to a half-chewed snack. The vibe between them is now officially more awkward than a family dinner where someone brings up politics. Lu Rui is staring at the screen, basically chanting a prayer for Chen Feng to make the cut. She wants to see how far this train wreck can go. But on the other side of the stage, Ku Dan is vibing on a completely different frequency. He's over there hoping Chen Feng manages to insult all 4 judges at once so he can get disqualified. That would make Ku Dan's path to the top as easy as a tutorial level. Right now, the score is sitting at 2-1. It all comes down to the final judge, Liu Tianqi. Since she's the only woman on the panel, Ku Dan is officially over it. She's standing in the corner, pouting and drawing circles on the ground with her toe like a vengeful anime toddler because Chen Feng has the emotional depth of a damp sponge. Meanwhile, our boy Chen Feng is getting into character. He greases up his hair into a sleek middle part and throws on some thick black-rimmed glasses. He's clearly going for the sophisticated intellectual look, but since the audience is still traumatized by his previous role as a domestic menace, he just looks like a high-end corporate shark who'd steal your lunch from the office fridge and then gaslight you into apologizing for it. The performance kicks off with the 5 of them on stage. Chen Feng is just sitting there, calmly erasing and scribbling on a piece of paper like he's doing his taxes during a hostage situation. Then, he drops the bombshell with a completely flat delivery. I think this elite center only needs karate. Everything else? Yeah, that should be deleted like a bad browser history. That's when Zhang Wen sits up, radiating enough final boss energy to power a small city. He fires back with pure dominance. What's your deal? If only your karate matters, then what the hell are we? Background noise? The live stream comments are absolutely losing it. They're saying Zhang Wen is a natural-born king, and that trying to outflex him is like trying to win a staring contest with a statue. It's just embarrassing. Chen Feng looks like a total pushover in those glasses, looking more like he's about to ask for a hall pass than win a fight. At this point, the fans are convinced this is going to be a total train wreck, because so far, I haven't seen. So let's be real. At this point, the entire crowd is looking at Chen Feng like he's just a side character in his own life. Zhang Wen is dominating the room so hard you'd think he's the one with his face on the cover of the manhua. He's basically that guy in the office who BCCs the boss on every tiny mistake you make. Everyone is just waiting for Chen Feng to fold like a cheap lawn chair. But our boy Chen Feng, he's got the emotional stability of a monk who just found out his retirement fund is fully vested. He doesn't even blink. He just looks up, gives this casual, "Oh, you're still talking?" smile, and drops a bomb. He tells the crowd that if they're interested, they're welcome to join his karate department. But hold your horses, because there's a selection process. He only trains the elite. And then, he slowly turns his gaze to Zhang Wen with a look that says, "I've seen better footwork from a glitchy Roomba," and finishes the sentence. He says he definitely doesn't accept trash. Man, you can feel the energy in the room shift faster than a teenager trying to hide their browser history when their mom walks in. The audience is finally feeling it. Chen Feng is playing it cool, keeping that weirdly calm smile while Zhang Wen's blood pressure is hitting levels that would make a corporate HR department faint. The hype is real because now everyone is waiting for the explosion. Zhang Wen looks at Chen Feng with eyes sharper than a discount kitchen knife and barks out, "Trash? You're really calling me trash?" He's basically vibrating with rage, trying to figure out how this guy is staying so arrogant. But Chen Feng, he's still standing there, looking like he's having the most boring Tuesday of his life, without a single trace of emotion on his face. Instead of going full ham with the typical over-the-top screaming you see in low-budget theater, our boy just drops this look that's 50% pure arrogance and 50% I definitely haven't updated my social media privacy settings in years. He stares right at Jiang Wen and lets out a smirk that's bordering on clinical insanity. He's like, "Whoa, whoa, big guy, don't get it twisted. I'm not just coming for you." Then he pans his eyes across the rest of the judging panel like he's looking for the skip ad button on a triple unskippable video and adds, "I'm saying that every single one of you sitting here is straight up garbage." The moment he finishes the line, his vibe shifts into something cold and sinister, topped off with a smile so mocking it makes your skin crawl. Honestly, who's going to tell him he's not the main character? Even Jiang Wen is sitting there looking like he just got hit with a surprise bill from the IRS. His brain is literally buffering because he's actually getting the urge to throw hands right then and there. It's the ultimate acting flex. He's being so convincingly toxic that the judge feels like he's being roasted in a middle school gaming lobby. Jiang Wen can't even hold back. He slams the desk like he's trying to squash a cockroach and jumps to his feet, giving Chen Feng a massive thumbs up. Good! That was it! The other 3 judges are up now too, each sporting a look that says they've just witnessed a glitch in the Matrix. Liu Tianqi is grinning like she just found a forgotten $20 bill in her pocket, and Teacher Huang looks like he's trying to remember if he actually turned the oven off before leaving home. Meanwhile, Tong Jiji's eyes are sparkling so hard, you'd think she just saw a buy one, get one free sale on designer bags. She's staring at Chen Feng like she's already mentally drafting a co-starring contract. That's the kind of magnetic riz a truly elite actor brings to the table. Finally, Chen Feng stands up, fixes his hair, and ditches the glasses like he's finishing a shift at the I'm a main character factory. He gives the judge, Liu Tianqi, a smile that says he knows he killed it and confirms his performance is done. Liu Tianqi is practically glowing as she gives him the thumbs up, announcing to the whole broadcast that her final pick for this round is obviously Chen Feng. The studio erupts in applause, but poor Q Dan is standing there looking like her brain just encountered a 404 error. She's wondering what just happened to her life. She spent the entire night getting psychologically wrecked on live TV only to get kicked out anyway. It's the equivalent of spending 3 hours on your makeup just to be told the party was canceled via a group chat you weren't even in. All her schemes to take Chen Feng down didn't just backfire, they gave him enough plot armor to survive a nuclear blast. She starts panicking, looking for Ma Jun, the guy who promised her Chen Feng was going home. Newsflash, Q Dan, you got played. Her mental state is officially in the gutter. Over on the live stream, the chat is absolutely vibing. People are spamming 666 and saying this performance was more satisfying than watching a billionaire lose a lawsuit. Everyone's calling Chen Feng's acting galaxy brain level and wondering if he's secretly some high-level legacy hire with massive backing. Between his roles as a gentleman hypocrite and a domestic tyrant, the internet is now tagging him as the ultimate arrogant bad boy. The digital sleuths are already demanding his entire life story, convinced he's definitely not a good guy in reality. This is it, the peak of the show. What is an actor? Chen Feng's advancement is a done deal, but fame is a double-edged sword. As the spotlight gets brighter, the haters come out of the woodwork like cockroaches. The internet is suddenly flooded with claims that Chen Feng is a total villain, slapping him with more baseless labels than a clearance rack at a shady department store. The internet is already convinced that Chen Feng isn't even acting. According to the comments, he's just being himself, because every role he's leaked so far is a total scumbag. Honestly, our boy couldn't care less about his ruined reputation. Backstage, he finally takes a breather and pulls up his system menu, because of course we can't have a plot without a floating blue screen. Host name, Chen Feng. Job, Level 1 actor. Experience, 4 out of 30. He's currently unlocked 4 starter packs for villains: the shady addict, a professional chef, the domestic nightmare, and the classic arrogant young master. Sure, unless he's whipping up a 5-star meal, most of these aren't exactly helpful for his daily life, but he's playing the long game here. Meanwhile, the live stream is still chugging along like a budget reality show. The winners are all crammed into a waiting room like they're at a DMV with better lighting, watching the remaining contestants fight for their lives on the big screen. They're all just waiting for the final victory lap on stage once the rounds are over. Then there's Ku Dan. Watching him get escorted out by the staff was like watching a tragedy directed by a clown. Normally, the audience would feel bad for a guy who just got his face rearranged on stage. But since Q Dan literally forced Chen Feng to sign a legal waiver so he could get smacked around, nobody's crying for him. He basically paid for a premium subscription to catch these hands. You can't really leave a 1-star Yelp review when you specifically ask the chef to burn your steak. All anyone can say is that the guy's IQ is officially in the negatives.